Watchers, before we begin, I want to make this absolutely clear. The following broadcast contains public domain courtroom footage, commentary, and legal analysis. This content is presented under the Fair Use Doctrine as defined by 17 U.S.C. 107 and is protected by multiple Supreme Court rulings, which you see below. This stream is transformative, educational, and journalistic in nature. It includes original commentary, trial breakdowns, legal interpretation, and critical analysis, not raw redistribution. We do not claim ownership over any public domain footage, and all use is strictly within legal bounds. If you're watching this content, you're engaging in a protected, transformative experience, grounded in law, never in speculation. And if anyone has a problem with that, take it up with Campbell, Brady, Miranda, and Irvin. Remember, guys, justice always works better when we watch. So keep watching. See you in the courtroom.
For this Wednesday, and we're in the defense case. For this Wednesday, and we're in the defense case in chief. It is May 21st, and we're ready to get started. So thank you everyone for being here. And we have Mr. Capido. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and have a seat here. Feel free to take off your coat. I'm not suggesting you're going to be here that long, but I do want you to be comfortable. Whatever you choose. Okay, so when we were here yesterday, Mr. Capido was on direct examination by Attorney Hutchinson. So your witness, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Capido.
Good morning.
So when we left off yesterday, you were talking about the first time Mr. Reales Dominguez told you or that he was hearing voices. Do you believe that was sometime in your third year, his freshman year?
It was a few months after I met him. Right.
I'd like to talk about your living situation the year you met Mr. Reales Dominguez. So that would have been 2020 to 2021. Where were you living at that time?
I wasn't living at the house on Hawthorne at that time. I was living somewhere else in Davis, but I was living with some of my friends.
What was that address that you were living at during the 2020-2021 school year?
It was on Notre Dame Drive in Davis.
And was it a house?
Yes.
Was it a house that you rented?
Yes.
Who lived with you at the house on Notre Dame Drive?
Let's see.
And I'm only focusing on the 2020-2021 school year.
At that time, I believe Christian and Sid were living with me, and at least another person.
And so Sid is Sidney Selesky,
Right.
and that is the proper way to pronounce his name, Selesky.
Slesky, right.
I've been butchering it for 2 years, so, okay. And Christian, is that Christian Ortega?
Christian Ortega, right.
And was there a fourth person you were living with?
Right.
You call who that was?
No.
At some point, did you move into a residence located on Hawthorne Lane in Davis?
Correct.
When did you move into the Hawthorne Lane residence? Approximately.
I would say the next school year.
So would that be the 2021 to 2022 school year?
Right.
Is that correct?
I believe so.
What was the address of the residence on Hawthorne Lane that you lived at?
762 Hawthorne.
When you moved in at the beginning of 2021, did you have roommates?
Yes.
Who were your roommates?
Christian Ortega, Phil Hahn, and Sid Slesky.
If you recall, who found that house as a potential rental of the 4 roommates?
Christian found the house.
How many bedrooms did this house have?
Had 4 bedrooms,
How many bathrooms did it have?
2.5.
Was it a 2-story house?
Correct.
On the upper story, was there a bedroom that had an attached bathroom?
Yes.
Who had that bedroom?
Christian.
He found the house,
Yes.
right? So he took the bedrooms there, I know that play. Yeah.
Now, and again, I'm talking about the 2021, 2022 school year. On the first floor, how many bedrooms were there?
3.
And how many full bathrooms were there on the first floor? By full bathroom, I mean toilet and shower.
1.
Did each of you have your own individual bedroom on the first floor?
Right.
Okay. So did you ever use Christian's bathroom, or was that his own bathroom?
It's pretty much his own bathroom.
So would you, Mr. Hahn, and Mr. Selesky all share the one full bathroom on the first floor?
Yes.
During the 2021-2022 school year, when you're living at Hawthorne, would you generally only see Mr. Reales Dominguez at fraternity events?
Pretty much.
Did the Hawthorne residents during the 2021-2022 school year become the fraternity house?
Yes.
So would you have events at that house?
Yes.
And do you recall, did Mr. Reales Dominguez ever come to events at that house during the 2021 and 2022 school year?
Yes.
And approximately how many active members were there of your chapter during the 2021-2022 school year, including yourself and Mr. Reales Dominguez?
Still less than 10.
At some point, did Mr. Selesky move out of the Hawthorne Lane residence?
Yes.
Do you recall when that happened?
Was the summer after we moved in, so
Okay. So that would have been the summer of 2022?
correct.
Did someone take steps to find a roommate to replace Mr. Selesky?
Yes.
Who took those steps, if you recall?
I guess we collectively took those steps.
Okay. And by we, you're referring to all 4 roommates?
Correct.
Did the roommates come to a decision about a person they may ask to join them in the house?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you decide?
We decided to have Carlos move in.
If you recall, were you the person who reached out to Carlos to ask him if he would move in, or did one of the other roommates do that?
I can't recall.
At some point, did Carlos move in?
Yes.
And approximately when did he move in?
Summer of 2022.
If you remember, had you, prior to moving in, from when the spring term ended in June of 2022 until he moved in at the end of the summer, had you had any contact with Mr. Reales Dominguez that summer?
I'm not sure.
As you sit here today, do you recall whether Mr. Reales moved in August or September, which month it was?
Not exactly.
Would it have been one of those 2 months?
Yes.
When he first moved in, I'm talking about first day or two they moved in, did you notice anything different about his appearance at that point?
He did lose a little bit of weight, but it wasn't enough for me to worry about it or think of it as an issue.
Had he lost weight from the last time you'd seen him?
Yes.
What about his hair when you moved in?
He had clean hair.
At some point, sir, around the time that he moved in, did Mr. Reales Dominguez ever have any further conversation with you about hearing voices?
I think at least once.
And so we've already talked about the time freshman year, so there was at least one other time after he moved in that he spoke to you about hearing voices.
All right.
What do you remember?
It was pretty much the same question, but rephrased. He asked me if I could hear people talking that weren't there. Something along those lines, not verbatim.
Was this a conversation that took place at the Hawthorne residence?
Probably.
Do you recall how you responded?
Not exactly, but I'm sure I advised him to reach out to somebody again.
Do you recall telling him to reach out to someone, or are you just assuming that's what you did?
I recall something like that.
During the fall term of 2022, did you see changes in Mr. Reales Dominguez's physical appearance, behavior, movements that caused you some concern?
You said in fall 2022?
Yes. So from beginning when he moves in until he leaves for Christmas or winter break, did you see changes in his behavior, appearance, and movements that you thought was unusual? Let me break it down. Mr. Capido, did you testify at a prior proceeding, in this case, back in July of 2023?
Yes.
Subsequent to that, did you have any sort of injury that has impacted your memory to some extent?
Yes.
What happened?
I got into an accident where I fell and hit my head and fractured my skull.
And in recovering from that injury, has it impacted your memory to some extent?
Not that I can note.
You still do have memory of you still have independent memory of when you lived with Mr. Reales Dominguez?
Yes.
Do you recall seeing any change in how Mr. Reales Dominguez walked or moved?
Yes.
What do you recall seeing?
Over time, his regular stride would turn into a kind of stiff strut with his arms barely moving on his sides.
And how would he stand? When he would walk, how would his posture be?
Should go straight up and stiff.
Sir, if I could ask you, with the court's permission, to step into the well and demonstrate how you observed Mr. Reales Dominguez walk.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Sir. So why don't you just start in front of you can go around, and then face and just walk toward this table demonstrating. So he would walk straight with his hands at his side.
Right.
Now you were looking down. Is that how Mr. Reales Dominguez would, or would he look straight ahead?
Yeah, about maybe a yard in front of him. Stare, on the floor. Stare at the floor.
Did you see anything how he moved his feet? Did he drag his feet in any way?
I'm not sure if he dragged them, but he kept them low and kind of minimal movement with it.
During the time you lived with him, do you recall an incident where he asked you if you saw something that wasn't there?
Yes.
What do you recall?
I just recall the question. He asked me if I've ever seen something that wasn't there.
And was it a question of have you ever seen something that wasn't there, or was it a question of do you see something right there? Do you understand?
Yeah, more of the first one.
How did you respond to that, if you recall? And if you don't recall, that's fine.
I don't recall.
So given that you shared a bathroom, Mr. Reales Dominguez, how frequently did you ever observe him taking a shower?
Is this before or after winter break?
Let's start with before winter break.
Before winter break, a few times out the week, pretty regularly.
A few times out of the week?
Yes,
How often did you shower during that time generally?
almost every day.
And again, before winter break,
Right.
did you ever see instances where he would be staring off into space or staring at a wall?
Not that I can recall.
Do you recall testifying about having a house meeting of some sort, and he would look into the distance and kind of stare blankly until we had to address him multiple times to get him to snap back in? Do you
Yes.
Objection, leading improper repression of recollection.
prior testimony? When did that, when you're having house meetings, he's staring blankly, when was that?
This was maybe a little bit before winter break.
You said his hair was longer but appeared to be clean when he first moved in.
Yes.
Did you see any changes to his hair, once again, over the fall quarter prior to winter break?
think it grew out a little bit more.
How did his interaction with roommates, or did his interaction with roommates change from the time he moved in, again, until winter break?
Yes.
How did it change?
He already wasn't frequently engaging with us, but it became even more so through time.
When you said he wasn't engaging with you, what do you mean by that?
Like, I guess communicating, talking, having like longer conversations.
Where would Mr. Reales Dominguez spend most of his time in the house?
In his room.
How, once again, we're talking about the fall quarter before
Right.
winter break. How frequently did he come out of his room?
Pretty frequently. Yeah, pretty frequently.
What would he come out for?
To make food, to go out and hang out.
When he came out over winter break, once again, prior to winter break, were there times when he didn't even acknowledge you or roommates?
I think at some point that's when it was happening.
So, and by not acknowledging, were there times, this is again prior to winter break, where he would come out, you or a roommate would say something to him and he wouldn't respond?
Right.
Did Mr. Reales Dominguez have a cat?
Yes.
Did, you remember that cat's name?
Yes.
What was that cat's name?
Ember.
At some point, and again, we're talking about the first, the fall quarter, before winter break, did you notice anything about how he was caring for the cat that caused you concern?
Yeah, the cat was getting a little skinny.
At some point, so did the cat was getting skinnier from when you first saw the cat?
It's weird because I saw the cat like kind of grow, so yeah, it was the cat was skinnier than when I last saw the cat, I guess.
Did you ever personally observe the cat in the kitchen trying to find food?
Yes.
What did you observe?
The cat would walk on the counters, and there would already be a bag of food that's ripped open, and he would go away with some food.
It was a bag of human food, or
Like human food, like probably some fast food.
by ripped open, did these appear to be something that was ripped open by a person or ripped open by an ember?
By Ember.
Foundation.
It had claw marks, like claw scratch marks ripped open.
So based on those, when you saw claw marks on this food, what did you conclude?
That Ember took the food.
Did you ever actually see Ember in the kitchen trying to get human food that had been left out?
I'd see him paw at like bags.
At that point, sir, did you have a girlfriend? Again, we're in the fall of 2022.
Yes.
And what was your girlfriend's name?
Naomi.
Did you and Naomi start doing anything with respect to the cat?
We started feeding the cat.
Why did you start feeding the cat?
Because we were worried about the cat.
Did you ask Mr. Reales Dominguez for permission to feed the cat, or did you just start doing it?
At least once asked permission, but after that we didn't.
Do you recall what his response was when you asked if you could feed his cat?
Objection, hearsay.
He gave us permission.
I'm sorry?
I think he gave us the affirmative to feed the cat.
Was there a litter box in the house?
I think so.
Did the cat start, during this period of fall, did the cat start going outside?
Yes.
Did you ever change a litter box?
No.
Now, I'd like to go fast forward to winter break, before you left for winter break. Did you stay at the Hawthorne residence over winter break, or did you go someplace else?
I went home for the break.
And what town was home at that time?
Hercules.
Prior to leaving for winter break, did you observe damage to the toilet that you shared with Mr. Reales Dominguez and Mr. Hahn?
Yes.
Did you personally observe how the toilet was broken?
No.
Did you personally hear when the toilet was broken?
No.
Did you observe the toilet after it had been broken?
Yes.
What did you observe?
The tank of the toilet was broken, almost as if the lid was smashed onto it.
So was this a ceramic toilet?
Yes.
And by lid, are you referring to the top that you can pull off where it fills with water?
Yes.
And can you describe what damage you saw, both to the toilet or to the lid?
Well, the tank had broken on the top, so there was substantial damage to it. We had to get it replaced.
Describe what you mean by substantial damage.
From what I remember, it was just broken on the top. Can't exactly recall.
Did this happen prior to Christmas break?
Yes.
And this is a yes or no question. Well, who first advised you that the toilet was broken, or did you observe it on your own, if you recall?
I think I observed it on my own.
Did you have conversations with your other roommates about the broken toilet?
Yes.
Now, so I don't want you to tell me what others told you, but did you come to believe that it had been Mr. Reales Dominguez who'd broken the toilet?
Yes.
Did you personally speak to Mr. Reales Dominguez about what happened with the toilet?
No.
Did you have a conversation with your other roommates about the toilet and what you're going to do about it prior to leaving for Christmas break?
Yes.
Did you get the toilet replaced?
Yes.
Who took the steps to get a new toilet, if you recall?
I believe it was Christian and I.
And do you recall, did you go out like to Home Depot and get a toilet? What do you recall doing yourself?
I remember going out with Christian to some store, and we bought a toilet and just took it home.
Did you and Christian install the toilet, or did you hire a professional to install it?
I can't recall.
Do you recall if you ever personally installed the toilet?
No.
Okay. At some point, was the toilet replaced?
Yes.
Who paid for the toilet you and Christian purchased, if you recall?
Either me and Christian took care of it, or we split it within the Breaux.
Were you by
Or in
Breaux?
the house.
Did that include Mr. Reales Dominguez, or no?
We attempted to.
Okay, I want to focus on only what you did, not what others told you.
Okay.
Did you make any effort to get Mr. Reales Dominguez to contribute to the broken toilet?
Me, myself, no.
And did you yourself ever have any personal conversation with Mr. Reales Dominguez about the broken toilet?
Not that I can recall.
I apologize if I asked this, but the toilet was replaced before you left for winter break?
I think so.
So I'd like to fast forward to when you get back from Hercules. And now that would be in January of 2023.
Okay.
Did Mr. Reales Dominguez return from winter break as well?
Yes.
How did his behavior change even further compared to how it had been from September to December? How did it change?
That's where I noticed that he was being really reclusive, and speaking to us less, to a point where we barely get a response from him.
When you say he was being really reclusive, what do you mean?
He'd kind of be on his own, maybe just in his room.
How frequently would he come out?
Not too frequently, more so at nighttime.
And there were times at night when you would see him leave his room?
Yes.
When you would come out of his room, did you ever try to interact with him, say hi, what's up, anything like that?
Yes.
And how did he respond?
Usually no response. Sometimes I'll get a silent head nod, or a mute, like "What's up?"
What do you mean a mute, what's up?
Like a whisper, kind of like under his breath, like, yeah.
You said most of the time you got no response. Can you give us an estimate of what % of time you would get a response from him?
Maybe 10%.
When he came out of his room, would he make eye contact with you?
No.
Did he continue to walk in the same way that you demonstrated for the jury?
Yes.
Once he returned from winter break, how often did you observe him showering?
Less frequently.
Do you have a memory of ever seeing Carlos Reales Dominguez be in the bathroom taking a shower after winter break?
Not that I can remember.
These roommate meetings, when he stared off into space, did you even attempt any of those meetings after winter break?
We still had them. I think he just stopped showing up.
Did you and Naomi continue to feed the cat?
Yes.
At some point, did the cat start coming and hanging out with you and Naomi?
Yes.
At some point, did the other three roommates have a meeting to discuss specifically what you observed with Mr. Reales Dominguez and what should be done about it?
Objection foundation.
Yes.
Okay. Who was present for that meeting?
The other housemates.
And this is yes or no. Did you discuss amongst each other what you had observed Mr. Reales Dominguez do?
Yes.
Did you discuss your concerns about what you observed his behavior?
Yes.
At this point, sir, had you ever heard of schizophrenia before?
Yes.
Were you familiar with the specific symptoms of schizophrenia?
A little bit, yes.
At this point, when you're having this roommate meeting, did you believe that Mr. Reales Dominguez had a mental illness?
We were thinking, I mean, sorry.
I'm asking about you.
I thought maybe, but I wasn't sure.
And I'm just asking, because I know you're not a doctor, but what mental illness did you maybe think he had?
I was thinking schizophrenic.
And did you share these concerns with your other two roommates?
Yes.
What did the roommates decide to do?
So this meeting was around the same time we were trying to figure out how we were going to take care of the toilet. So we had to take care of the toilet, and we decided to keep attempting to try to have Carlos get some help.
So if the meeting was around the same time as the toilet, would it have been right before Christmas break or maybe right after Christmas break?
Right.
So there was a decision about trying to help Carlos get some help. Did you make a decision on which one of the three you should reach out to Carlos?
Not that I recall.
Did someone of the three of you volunteer to be the person to reach out to Carlos and try to talk to him about this?
I can't recall.
Well, did you volunteer to be that person?
Can't recall.
Did you, after that meeting, did you ever try to have a conversation with Carlos Reales Dominguez about trying to get him help?
I might have brought it up.
Okay. Do you have a specific memory of that, though?
No specific memory.
Of
Objection moves to strike, lack of personal knowledge.
Okay, it's, answer stricken.
Sir, basically, when you returned from winter break, Mr. Reales Dominguez was not communicating with any of the roommates, is that correct?
Yes.
Was there one of the three roommates who you thought had the best chance to try to communicate with Mr. Reales Dominguez?
Can't recall.
Sir, if you recall, do you recall if there was an agreement between the three of you that would be Phil, Han would be the one who would reach out and try to talk to Mr. Reales Dominguez?
That sounds about right.
At some point, did you become aware that Mr. Reales Dominguez had been arrested for 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder?
Yes.
And how did you first become aware of that? I don't want what someone told you, just who did you learn that he'd been arrested from? Was it a specific person? Was it the news media? If you recall.
I saw it myself.
When he was taken into custody, you were there?
I wasn't there, but I was following along with the radio.
And did you actually see a photo and realize it was Carlos Reales Dominguez?
I think it was like helicopter footage, or maybe social media, mix of both.
And at some point later, did police come and search your home?
Yes.
Did you have pocket knives in your room?
Yes.
Were those seized by the police?
Yes.
What type of knives did you have?
There were some regular pocket knives got online.
These were pocket knives you purchased online?
Yes.
Do you recall where you purchased them from?
There's one website I know, it's Civivi, but yeah.
What size were these pocket knives? Are they like just a little tiny Swiss Army knives, or were they larger pocket knives?
They were larger, but legal knives.
And by your gesturing with your hands, what were you?
That's probably the blade size, probably this long.
So what would you estimate in terms of inches?
Probably about around 3.
3 to 4 maybe?
Maybe closer to 3.5 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, after Mr. Reales Dominguez was arrested, did you and Naomi continue to care for Ember for some time?
Yes.
And what happened to Ember?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
I can approach you on that. Highly relevant.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'll withdraw it.
What's that?
I'll withdraw.
Withdrawn, that's fine. All right, thank you, counsel. Go ahead.
What happened to Ember?
Ember got hit by a car.
And was Ember killed?
Yes.
Approximately how long after Mr. Reales Dominguez's arrest was Ember killed?
Within a couple months.
Did Mr. Reales Dominguez's family, based on your own personal observation, ever come to the house to collect his belongings?
Yes.
Okay. Did they try to take Ember?
No.
I have nothing further.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hutchinson. That was direct. And Mr. Demora, cross-exam.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Now, Mr. Capido, you had mentioned that Mr. Reales Dominguez first asked you whether you yourself heard voices when you first met him in his freshman year, your junior year, correct?
Correct.
During his freshman year in 2020 to 21, so I'll just refer to it as the school year that way, you guys saw each other fairly regularly, correct?
Yes.
And you were friends, for
Yes.
say?
Yes.
And going into, and he rushed for your fraternity,
Correct.
And was accepted as a brother in that fraternity.
Correct.
And so that means that he had to maintain good status in the fraternity, he had to participate in events such as outreach and basically keep regular communication with you and the other brothers of that fraternity, correct?
All right.
And so moving from 2020 and 2021 into 2021 and 2022, Mr. Reales Dominguez's sophomore year, he was still a part of the fraternity at that point, right?
Correct.
And you still saw him on a fairly regular basis, right?
Fairly regular, yeah.
Yeah. You still consider him a friend.
Yes.
And during that time, was it during this time that he had asked you again whether you heard voices or whether you saw things that weren't there?
I don't think so.
That wasn't until the next year when he moved into the house, correct?
Right.
And so from 2020, the 2020-2021 school year, to the summer of 2022, when he finally moved in with you, he only brought that up with you once, correct?
Correct.
And by that point, from the time you met him to the time he moved into the house, we're talking about that time frame on Hawthorne, to the time he moved into the house on Hawthorne, you are where he knew Phil and Sid and those other brothers who were part of the fraternity, right?
Right.
None of those other individuals ever came to you and told you Mr. Reales Dominguez expressed that he was seeing things or hearing things.
Objection, hearsay.
Besides the meeting, no.
That meeting was in winter of 2022, correct?
All right. Right.
Yeah. So before that, before he moved into the house, no one ever told you, hey, Mr. Reales Dominguez is saying these things to us.
Not that I can specifically recall.
And even though Mr. Reales Dominguez may ask you this question in 2020 and 2021, you and the other brothers still agreed that he could move into the Hawthorne residence with you, correct?
Correct.
And so at that point, is it fair to say you had no real concern about that question? Like, you weren't concerned about him as a person?
No.
And so with that, once he moved into Hawthorne, he took a room on the first floor next to the bathroom, right?
Correct.
And it's fair to say you're all still in school at this point, right?
At that point, yes.
So you knew Mr. Reales Dominguez was enrolled at UC Davis and taking classes,
Correct.
and you were enrolled at UC Davis and taking classes,
Yes.
and all the other brothers and roommates were also enrolled in UC Davis and taking classes.
I believe so.
And so is it fair to say that you weren't monitoring Mr. Reales Dominguez's activities and movements all day?
Correct.
And so when asked, when comparing how often he showered versus how often you showered, you weren't sitting outside his room or the bathroom saying, hey, Mr. Reales Dominguez showered on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right?
That's right.
And so your observations about how frequently he showered were based on what you saw when you were at the house at the same time.
Correct.
And so there are going to be times during and looking back at your living with Mr. Reales Dominguez, there are going to be times where you say, hey, I don't know what he did because I wasn't home, right?
Right.
Now, the time he moved in the summer of 2022, and we're talking about sort of that fall quarter, from the time he moved in, fall quarter up to winter break. You said that this is when you noticed he started walking a little bit stiff, like he'd walk with his arms to the side. Is this when you started to notice it?
Sorry, can you repeat the date?
Sure. Fall quarter of 2022, so right after Mr. Reales Dominguez moved in to Hawthorne.
Say yes, but it wasn't that obvious at that point yet.
Okay, but you noticed a kind of a change in his gait and how he was walking.
Right.
But when you would see him walking, he would walk from his room to the kitchen, right?
Right.
Or his room and leave the house to go to what you could imagine was class, right?
Right.
And so every time you saw him walking, even though there was a slight change in how he was walking, from what you could perceive, he was moving to a specific place.
Maybe more than half the time.
More than half the time. Well, let me ask you it this way. When you saw him walking, he didn't appear to you to be like walking without a purpose, like wandering, right?
Not too often, no.
You mentioned that he would stare blankly at times, and one of these were in these sort of roommate meetings that you had.
Right.
When he would stare off blankly, you didn't know he was thinking, right?
No,
You didn't know if he was thinking about school, correct?
I wouldn't know.
You didn't know if he was thinking about his ex-girlfriend, Kaylee Garrett.
I wouldn't know.
Objection, argument under 352.
And so, in those moments, you couldn't tell if he was just disinterested in the meeting, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to know.
And so these roommate meetings that you had, were they monthly or weekly?
Weekly.
And did you discuss things about the fraternity itself?
That was included.
And you talked about household responsibilities?
Yes.
And part of those household responsibilities is people pay rent, right?
Yes.
All right. How much was the rent per person?
I was paying around $8 to $8.50 at the time.
If you recall, did everyone split the rent evenly?
No, it was by room size.
And so the person with the bigger room paid more, correct?
Yes.
So Christian, because he found the house and got the bigger room, he had to, the trade-off was he had to pay more.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Reales Dominguez was required to pay rent to stay there, correct?
Correct.
Was there a point in late fall quarter, so we're getting towards November, December of 2022, where there was an issue with Mr. Reales Dominguez paying rent?
Objection, foundation, lack of personal knowledge.
Overall, do you recall the issue?
Yes.
Was he falling behind on his rent payments?
He wasn't reporting rent to me, but I believe so.
Objection, foundation, strike.
Sustained, stricken.
Well, was rent an issue that came up at one of these meetings that you attended?
Yes.
And so, based on your discussions and not what someone relayed to you, was it determined that Mr. Reales Dominguez had to catch up on rent?
Yes.
Was there a conversation amongst you and other roommates as to who would approach Mr. Reales Dominguez about this issue?
We gave the responsibility to Sid since his name was on the lease.
And Sid, since his name was on the lease, that was because Mr. Reales Dominguez took Sid's room.
Correct.
So Mr. Reales Dominguez was basically a sub leasing of the room, correct?
Correct.
But he didn't fill out, Mr. Reales Dominguez didn't fill out formal paperwork to actually put his name on the lease. It was just an agreement between Sid and Mr. Reales Dominguez.
Correct.
Is he on the witness list?
Yes.
Okay. So let's 352, and
Well,
can we use Sid for that, those questions?
Any motion?
Well, if I'm not needed to intercede, then forget what I just said.
We're going to approach him there.
Okay, all right. Feel free to stand up, stretch those. Thanks. Offer. Trying to speed things up. Yeah. Okay, thank you, folks. All right, back on the record, and I appreciate that, counsel, for some backstory. So, Mr. Demora, then go ahead on the rent question.
And so, Sid gets tasked with approaching Mr. Reales Dominguez about this rent issue, correct?
Correct.
Who was Mr. Reales Dominguez, actually, sorry, let me rephrase. Was rent sent to any particular individual in the house?
Yes.
Who was the collector of rent?
Christian.
And how were you all doing this? Like, was it Zelle, Venmo, cash?
Yeah, Zelle. I used Zelle.
But to your knowledge, everyone was kind of doing like electronic transfers.
Electronic transfers, right.
Now, to your knowledge, without going into what Sid may or may not have said, but to your knowledge, did this conversation between Sid and Mr. Reales Dominguez happen regarding rent?
Objection, foundation, lack of personal knowledge.
Sustained.
Did the rent situation change? Did Mr. Reales Dominguez, to your knowledge, catch up on rent?
Objection, foundation.
Sustained.
Did you have to have this conversation about Mr. Reales Dominguez paying rent at another meeting of the roommates?
Not that I know of, but I wasn't involved, and I left it to be Sid and Christian for them to take care of.
Was Mr. Reales Dominguez at the meeting where the issue of him falling behind on rent came up?
Potentially, but I can't recall.
After that meeting, did Mr. Reales Dominguez's attitude towards the roommate, to you and the other roommates, change?
Not that I know of.
Not that you specifically observed,
No.
but you can't speak for what Sid and what Christian may have experienced.
Correct.
Now, when going into winter break of 2022, so we're getting into December of 2022 at this point, you testified on direct examination that you became aware of the toilet being broken in the bathroom.
All right.
And that toilet, or that bathroom was used by you, Bill, and Mr. Reales Dominguez, correct?
Yes.
And so, at some point, it was determined that Mr. Reales Dominguez was the one who broke the toilet, right?
Yes.
And that was of concern to you because that was destruction of your guys' property, right?
Right.
And so, at the time, you didn't know why Mr. Reales Dominguez broke the toilet.
Right.
When you saw the toilet, did it appear that it could still be used?
I don't think so.
It was in such a state that you had to replace the whole thing, right?
Right.
Now, had you seen from when you first met Mr. Reales Dominguez in fall of 2020 to December of 2022, had you seen Mr. Reales Dominguez break something like a wall or a door or anything like that?
No.
Have you ever seen him try to fight anybody that put hands on him, push him, shove him, or things like that?
There's at least one instance.
When was that?
Well, we were hosting a party, and what was it? I was called into my room because I had friends hanging out in my room, and when I got in there, I observed Carlos shoving some of our friends, and we had to control him.
And we saw Carlos shoving some friends, and you said you had to control them, meaning you had to physically restrain him to get him away from your friends.
Right.
In what year was this?
It might have been after he moved in
You say after he moved into Hawthorne?
to Hawthorne. Right.
So after he moved into Hawthorne, but before this incident with the toilet.
Right.
And you restrained Mr. Reales Dominguez because, were you actually involved in restraining him?
Right.
And you restrained him because it appeared to you that he was the aggressor in this, right?
Correct.
Now, during this time, so going back to December of 2022, were you aware that Mr. Reales Dominguez purchased a fixed blade knife off of Amazon?
No.
Did you know Mr. Reales Dominguez to carry knives with him?
No.
Did you ever see him with a knife?
So
Other than like a kitchen knife or things like that?
no.
You mentioned that when the police came and searched your house, you and some of the other roommates had pocket knives on you.
Right.
Or you owned or possessed pocket knives.
Right.
Did you ever let Mr. Reales Dominguez handle your pocket knives?
No.
When did you get those? Or when did you specifically get yours?
Probably in my second and third year.
And yours was actually like a folding one where the blade folds into the
A
handle?
folding one, right?
You didn't have a fixed blade, double-sided, or double-bladed knife?
No.
During the time that you were friends with Mr. Reales Dominguez, from the time you met him to the time of his arrest, and that he lived with you, did the two of you ever go out throwing knives?
No.
Did you ever go carving in trees or wood with knives?
No.
Did you ever observe him do either one of those?
No.
Were you often at home, so 2022 into 2023, when you're living at Hawthorne, were you frequently home at night?
I would stay at one of two places around that time.
Hawthorne or Naomi's?
Right.
Did you watch, or were you aware of Mr. Reales Dominguez's nighttime movements, like where he'd go or where he'd be?
No, but I did observe him to go out at night. Where, yeah.
When you say go out at night, would he go out like late at night?
Yeah. My belief was that he was going to work.
Because at the time you knew he worked at Jack in the Box.
Right.
Did you know that at some point in 2023 he had stopped working at Jack in the Box?
No.
And so in 2023, when he'd leave at night, it was still your belief at the time he was going to work.
Probably, yes.
Did you ever hear him come home like in the early morning hours when it's still dark outside?
No.
That's because you were sleeping?
Probably sleeping.
Now, after this meeting you had with roommates, where you were discussing Mr. Reales Dominguez possibly having mental illness, after that meeting, so that was roughly December 2022, January 2023, is that about right?
Right.
That was, even after that meeting, you would still see him leave his room and go to the kitchen and make food.
Yes, but I think it was less.
Less, but you still saw him do that.
Right.
You still saw him, excuse me, sorry that. You were still aware that he was enrolled at UC Davis at that point,
Yes.
and you knew he had classes as well.
Right.
Now, I assume you don't know what his actual class schedule was during the winter and the spring quarters of 2023, right?
No.
But
Correct.
because you all lived together, fair to say that you would learn roughly when people had to go to campus for class?
Right.
And so there were times where Mr. Reales Dominguez would be gone during the day, and you had reason to believe he went and attended his classes, correct?
Right.
And he would come home, usually roughly around the same time, where you believe that he had completed his classes for the day.
Objection, speculation, foundation.
Sustained.
You saw him come back on certain days at around the same time?
No, not really.
But once he would leave, when you believed he was going to class, he would always come back to the Hawthorne residence.
Objection, foundation, speculation.
Sustained.
When you were present at the Hawthorne residence during the school week, so Monday through Friday, there were times where during daylight hours, Mr. Reales Dominguez would come back to the residence.
Right.
And when you come back to the residence, he had things that suggested to you he'd gone to class, like a backpack or books.
Correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Demore. That was cross. Mr. Hutchinson, We just have a minute or two. Do you have redirect?
I can do it within a minute or two.
Okay.
Mr. Capido, the incident where you saw Mr. Reales Dominguez pushing your friends, I want to focus on what you saw. You said you were hosting a party?
Yes.
Where was the party located?
762 Hawthorne.
And someone alerted you to come into your room?
Yes.
And did you go into the room?
Yes.
Who did you observe in the room when you went in?
Carlos and some of my housemates.
Which housemates?
Sid. And I think Christian and Phil. Maybe Phil.
And Sid, he was not a housemate at that point, he was a former
Right.
housemate?
Right.
Which housemate did you see Mr. Reales Dominguez pushing?
I can't recall.
Were there anyone else in the room other than your housemates and Sid?
Maybe other brothers from other places, but that was it.
Do you recall who alerted you to come into the room?
Yes.
Who was that?
Sid.
So, did you walk into the room with Sid?
Yes.
So, by process of elimination, Sid was not the person being pushed.
Right.
But as you sit here today, you can't recall whether it was Phil or Christian who was being pushed.
Right. I just saw the activity happening and
Was it one of those two, Phil or Christian?
potentially.
Did you see him pushing more than one person or just one person?
It was kind of not one person kind of thing.
What do you mean by that?
Because I approached him and he started shoving me, and yeah, that's where I had to, control him.
You had no idea why he was shoving you.
Right.
Is that the first time he'd ever shoved you?
Yes.
The first time you'd ever seen him shove any of your housemates?
Yes.
Nothing further. Thank you, sir.
Okay, great, thank you. Mr. DeMora, anything on that narrow redirect?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Now, when Mr. Reales Dominguez, we're talking about this incident at the party when he was going to be separated and restrained, was he saying anything to you or the other roommates?
Nothing.
And he was looking at you when he started shoving you, he was looking at you when he was doing that, right?
Yes.
He didn't have a blank stare on it. It looked to you that he knew who you were, right?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
I'm not sure about that one.
Have you been drinking?
Yes.
Could you tell?
Yes.
Was it
Well-
because of the odor on him?
Yes, and the situation of the party.
There was alcohol at the party?
Yes.
And after Mr. Reales Dominguez was restrained and separated, he stayed at the party with you guys, correct?
Yes.
And I take it there was a little bit of tension between you and your other roommates and Mr. Reales Dominguez at that point, right?
No, because we were just trying to control it and get back to taking care of the house.
But after that, fair to say you guys were kind of watching him to see if he started anything else?
Yes.
And when you were watching him, you could see that he was interacting with other people and still a part of the party.
Not really.
You say not really, what do you mean?
After that happened, he walked outside of my room into the party, where it was brought to my attention that maybe he would do something else at that point.
Was there concern that he would start another fight?
Right, that was the concern.
Did you observe him?
We were observing him.
And when you say
I
we,
observed.
were you part of that?
I observed him, yes.
What did you observe?
Well, he walked through the crowd, not really saying anything to anybody, and that's the last I saw of him around that time, like at that night.
When you walked through the crowd, was he bumping into people? What was he doing?
It was almost as if he floated through the crowd, like he wasn't bumping in. I think someone did bump into him, and then he made eye contact with him. That's what I was observing, but I was trying to make sure he didn't get into anything else outside of my room in the party.
And no other incidents after that you saw?
That night, no.
Okay. Sound good, Mr. Moore?
I had one question that I'd ask for permission to just reopen on cross,
No, we're done.
and I will have Mr. Capido subject to recall.
Okay, thanks. All right, thank you, we're done. Mr. Capido, thank you very much for your testimony and your patience with the court. Have a great day. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, thank you for your patience this morning. We're ready for our mid-morning break. Three-part admonition: do not discuss the substance, do not form any opinions, and do not research the case. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Thank you, folks. All right. All right, let's go back on the record after a mid-morning break. We're in the defense case. Mr. Hutchinson, do you have a witness you'd like to call?
Defense calls Officer Derek Russell.
Derek Russell. Okay, let's bring in the officer. Okay, good morning, sir. Thanks for your patience. We'll take your oath there and then have a seat.
Please raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause not being put to the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. First and last name for the record. And hold the vote.
It's Derek Russell, DEREK-RUSSELL.
All right, thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Hutchinson, direct exam.
Officer Russell, are you ready to set the record for the shortest testimony of this trial?
Yes, I am, sir.
Was he told in advance?
After you last testified, did you have an opportunity to review your body camera that was previously admitted into evidence?
Yes, I did.
And at what specific time did you turn on that body camera?
It was at 11:51 and 33 seconds, the night of May 1st, 2023.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions on that for the prosecution?
No.
All right, you did it. That is the shortest.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I have this image of a goal in the Premier League on the opening kick. Anyway, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you, Mr. Hutchinson. Next witness.
The defense calls Philip on.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Hahn, good morning.
Good morning.
Come on in and stand here. Again, my name's Sam McAdam. I'm presiding over this trial, and I thank you for coming to court today.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to have the clerk administer an oath to you. After you take that oath, then I want you to have a seat in the witness stand. There are two lawyers to ask questions, okay?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause not being put to the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, please. State your first and last name for the record, and spell them both.
Philip Han, Phillip, Han, Han.
Okay, Mr. Hahn, go ahead and move and scoot in a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, make yourself comfortable there. And we can hear you fine. I want you to catch your breath and not speak too fast so that we can process what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Also because I have a court recorder transcribing it. So just go at a reasonable pace, listen to the questions really well, okay?
Gotcha.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hutchinson, direct exam.
Good morning, Mr. Hahn. Sir, how old are you?
I am 28 years old. Well, 29 now.
And what do you do for a living?
I am a cook training to be a sous chef at Cash Creek Casino right now.
And prior to beginning your career, did you attend college?
Yes, sir.
What college did you attend?
UC Davis.
And what years did you attend UC Davis?
Originally 2015 to 2016, I took about a 2 to 3 year break, and then I came back for another 2 years.
While attending UC Davis in would be beginning fall of 2020, were you a member of a fraternity?
Yes, sir.
What member of a fraternity were you?
Expelled, spelled XPO.
And during, let's focus on, would be the year of 2020, 2021. Where did you live that year, if you recall?
Let's see. It would either be at 762 Hawthorne Lane, or it would be at Notre Dame. I don't remember the exact street address, but they are still both reside in Davis, though.
Did you live at the Notre Dame residence before you moved to the Hawthorne residence?
No, no. I just hung out there with my friends.
So who lived at the Notre Dame residence?
So Notre Dame would be it was Mark, Christian, Sid, and we had a fourth roommate that just came in throughout at the switch. At the point, it was either Timmy or it was Aiden. Either one of those two.
And were these all fraternity members?
Yes.
By Sydney, who are you referring to?
Sydney Selesky,
And by Mark, who are you referring to?
Mark Capido,
And by Christian, who are you referring to?
Christian Ortega.
Sir, turning your attention to be the 2021-2022 school year, at that year, did you move into a residence on Hawthorne Lane, Davis?
Yes, sir.
Who did you initially share that house with?
Initially, it was me, Sid, Mark, and Christian.
And was that house considered the fraternity house?
Yes.
Now, at some point, did you meet someone by the name of Carlos Reales Dominguez?
Yes.
When did you first meet Mr. Reales Dominguez?
It would be during the summer of around 2020 and 2021, around that year.
Would that have been his freshman year?
Yes.
And do you see Mr. Reales Dominguez in court today?
Yes.
Young man seated to my left.
Yes.
What was the context in which you first met Mr. Reales Dominguez?
It was at a social party. We met through mutual contacts. I went to the party with Aiden, and Carlos showed up with Nathan.
Do you remember what Nathan's last name is?
No.
Was Nathan a friend of Carlos's?
Yes.
At some point, did Carlos rush your fraternity?
Yes.
Were you involved in the rush process?
No, we were in the same line together. So we were pledging together at the same moment.
So you weren't yet a fraternity member?
No.
We heard testimony that pledges were required to do a song and dance routine. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what song and dance routine you had to do? I
don't think we actually, at least for me, we didn't do a song and dance. I don't think we just got to it, so it just never came up.
Do you recall Carlos had to do a song and dance?
Yes, actually. It was, I think, Cookies and Cream. It was a commercial.
Okay, Cookies and Cream, what is that?
It was a Skittles commercial, I think back in 2000. Just had a leprechaun just dancing, singing Cookies and Cream.
So did Carlos dress as a leprechaun?
No.
But he sang and danced the song Cookies and Cream?
I don't think he did it itself. It was brought up, but I don't think he's ever did the dance and sung it. But it was brought up, but it's like, oh, okay.
What
But
do you mean it was brought up?
it was viewed as like something that we would have to do within our line, but then our line got shorter. Just a couple of them dropped out from the process, and so eventually it just kind of never got brought up again after our line got shortened.
So you don't have independent memory of watching Carlos sing the Cookies and Cream?
Yes. I'm not sure about it. So
You were a pledge at the time?
yes.
Were you both selected, were you both offered to join the fraternity?
Yes.
At some point, did you become housemates with Mr. Reales Dominguez?
Yes.
How did that come about?
Sydney was moving out of the 762 Hawthorne house. It was offered to Carlos for the room itself, and we all agreed, and Carlos moved in.
Sir, at some point after Carlos moved in, did he have a conversation with you about hearing voices?
Not after he moved in, but I think not after he moved in.
Prior to him moving in, did you have a conversation with him that he was hearing voices?
Yes.
When did that happen?
It would be around 2020 to 2021. I think more 2021 in the fall, around that time.
So it would have been the fall of his sophomore year?
Yes, yeah.
Assume Mr. Reales Dominguez started UC Davis in fall of 2020. That fall of 2021 would be his sophomore year. Correct?
Yes, yeah.
What did he tell you about hearing voices?
He said if I had similar things, if I had any thoughts of like if I heard any voices in my head, I said mostly for me it's just my brain's thinking a little bit faster than my mouth, so I'm thinking quicker. I did suggest to Carlos to check out maybe the UC.
Non-responsive.
Sustain.
Okay. Right, everything after suggest.
Right. Granted.
We're going to break it down.
Okay.
What specifically did Carlos tell you, to the best of your recollection? Did he ask you a question or was it a statement? What was the first thing?
It was a question.
Okay. What do you recall him asking you?
Basically,
Asked and answered.
You just need to strike it.
No, that's the different part of the question, and he can rebuild it. It wasn't responsive, so you're allowed to structure through it. Right, go ahead.
What question do you recall him asking you?
vaguely about whether if I heard voices in my head or something of that line.
Where was this conversation taking place, if you remember?
It was in my car at the Jack in the Box in Davis.
Were you guys going through the drive-thru?
No, we just got out of it and we were just parked and eating, so.
So you had gone through the Jack in the Box drive-thru?
Yes.
So he brings this, asks this question. How do you respond?
I respond by saying like, asking like, what type of voices is it? Is it just like, you know, maybe your brain's is going faster than your mouth? Is it just like, you know, random thoughts? Like trying to just figure out like, okay, what is it? Other than that, that's what I remember him asking.
Did he give you any further information about the voices he was hearing?
Not that I know of.
So after you asked these clarifying questions, you didn't receive any additional information, did you give him any advice?
Yes. Initially, I told him that the UC Davis Med Center for Students does offer free checkups, at least to my knowledge. And so I suggested that he go get just a checkup. It's free, so.
Do you recall anything else about that conversation?
He said, actually, I don't think he said anything after that. He just kind of just stopped.
Let's fast forward to when he's now moved in with you.
Okay.
Did you have any further conversation with him after he's moved in with you relating to hearing voices?
No.
Did you have a incident with Mr. Reales Dominguez when you're at the Hawthorne residence where he said something to the effect of, did you say something or did you hear that, and there had not been any sound? Do you recall that?
Yes.
What do you recall happened?
I don't think anything really specific happened. Most of us were just kind of caught off guard. Just say, no, nothing. It's like, you sure? You okay, man? And just simple conversation, just check in with them. But other than
Let's
that.
break it down. This was at the Hawthorne residence?
Yes, sir.
If you recall, where at the Hawthorne residence was this? What room?
Most likely the kitchen, just when he's making something to eat.
And don't guess, but who do you recall being in the kitchen at that time? Beyond you and Mr. Reales Dominguez.
No, it was just us. I was just passing through to go to the bathroom.
And as you were passing through to go to the bathroom, what did you hear him say?
Just something along the lines of, you hear something, or pretty much kind of something like that, so.
And had you heard anything?
No.
What happened then?
I think it was a couple of times he just looked around, but kind of just refocused on what he was working on, so.
Describe what you meant he looked around.
Just, kind of maybe a little bewildered. It's like, oh, is there something on the left or right of me? But just trying to see if there's anything, but I don't think he saw anything.
Was there
So.
anything there that you saw?
No.
Other than you and Mr. Reales Dominguez?
No.
Now, did you share a bathroom with Mr. Reales Dominguez?
Yes.
Once again, I'm focused on what you personally observed, not what others told you. At some point, did you observe the bathroom, the toilet get broken?
No.
Did you ever personally observe the toilet after it was broken?
Yes.
Did you observe the toilet before it was replaced?
Yes.
Describe what you saw in terms of the damage to the toilet.
So the toilet had, at least what I remember was, I think the top lid, at least for the tank, was shattered for it. We had a coat, a little towel hanger right above it as well, that was ripped off, and I think that's all I remember of it, of at least the toilet area.
Did you play any role in replacing the toilet, or did someone else take care of that?
I replaced the toilet.
Okay. Did you actually install the toilet yourself?
Yes, sir.
Did you already have experience installing toilets, or was this your first?
I've had multiple experiences swapping out toilets.
Okay. Do you recall when you replaced the toilet?
I don't have the exact date, but it would be around the month we were, a month before we moved out, so.
The month before you?
At least when me, Mark, and the rest of the house moved out from Hawthorne Lane.
Also, the toilet was replaced, let me back up. You recall when Mr. Reales Dominguez was arrested, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Assume he was arrested on May 3rd of 2023. Assume that fact. When did you replace the toilet?
It probably be after Carlos's arrest date. I don't know exactly when, but it will be sometime between May 3rd and after we moved out, before we moved out.
So did the toilet remain broken for some time after Carlos replaced it, after it was broken?
Yes.
Do you recall when you observed the toilet first being broken?
After he came out the bathroom from it. I don't remember the exact date of it.
In relation to, was it before winter break of 2022, or was it after winter break, which would be the beginning of the winter quarter of January 2023? If you recall.
I don't recall.
Did you said you didn't observe the toilet get broken. Did you hear the toilet get broken?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you at?
In the living room.
Was anyone else in the house at that time?
I think Mark, but I'm not too sure about it.
What did you hear?
I heard ceramics shattering. I heard metal falling onto the floor. Other than that, just mostly just loud noises. So.
What did you do then?
We were just kind of, at least me, we were just kind of just sitting on the couch, just trying to not really do anything. I was more worried about my own safety at that point, just trying not to cause anything bigger. So we just waited, and then once Carlos came out the bathroom, I went in to check. And
stop you there. Did you see Carlos come out of the bathroom, or did you just hear him come?
I heard him come out the bathroom.
Were you able to observe him with your eyes when he came out of the bathroom?
No.
Were you able to hear where he went after he came out of the bathroom?
Yes.
Where did you hear him go?
He went to his room.
Did he close the door?
Yes.
After Carlos, had you heard anything leading up to the smashing of the ceramics?
Like him before he went into the bathroom, or
Any noises other than him going into the bathroom?
other than just maybe like verbal frustration, maybe?
I don't want you to speculate.
Oh, no, I don't think I heard anything else then, so.
So when you went, after you hear him go into his room, what did you do?
I checked up on the bathroom, saw the damage, and just try to see what we could fix on it, so.
Did you personally ever have a conversation with Mr. Reales Dominguez about what happened in the bathroom?
No.
Did the roommates discuss, and this is a yes or no response, did the roommates discuss this issue among themselves?
Yes.
Excluding Mr. Reales Dominguez?
Yes.
At some point, did you and your housemates have a meeting? So this would be you, Mr. Ortega, and Mr. Capido, when you discussed your concern that Mr. Reales Dominguez was mentally ill.
Could you restate the question?
Sir, at some point when Carlos Reales Dominguez was living with you, did you have a meeting with your other roommates in which you discussed your concern that Mr. Reales Dominguez was mentally ill?
I wouldn't really say like a full-on meeting, but maybe more a conversation.
Did you and your other roommates have a conversation where you discussed your concern that Mr. Reales Dominguez was mentally ill?
Yes.
When did that conversation take place?
Probably maybe 6 or 7 months in.
So it would have been sometime after winter break of 2022?
Yes, that's what I remember of.
During that meetings, did all the roommates express their concerns and their observations about what they'd observed Mr. Reales Dominguez do?
Yes.
Overall. And did you express what you had observed?
Yes.
Sir, at the time of that meeting, had you ever heard of schizophrenia before?
Yes.
Although you're not, do you have any psychiatric or psychology formal training?
No.
Okay. Did you have some understanding of some symptoms of schizophrenia?
Yes.
At that point, did you have a concern that Mr. Reales Dominguez may have schizophrenia?
Objection, foundation, culture, and personally.
Overruled as a lay opinion. Go ahead.
Could you restate the question, please?
At the time of this meeting, based on what you had observed and what your roommates had explained to you, did you have a concern that Mr. Reales Dominguez may have schizophrenia?
Yes.
And was this something the roommates discussed among each other?
Yes.
Did the roommates come to an agreement as what, if anything, you would do?
I don't think so.
Was there ever a discussion as to whether one of the roommates should reach out to Carlos and try to talk to him?
Yes.
Okay. Was there an agreement on which roommate would do that?
No.
Sir, do you recall any of the roommates suggesting that you should be the person who does that?
I don't think it was more like just one person would do it. It was just kind of in separate cases, like throughout the when we were just living with them. If someone was had maybe maybe a little more connection to something that maybe what we thought Carlos was going through, maybe a different person would try to talk to him, or other if we were just, who was more available at the time as well. So.
At this conversation, it's you, Mr. Capido, and Mr. Ortega.
Yes.
Did you or the other two, did anyone volunteer to say, I'll be the one who tries to talk to him?
Sid, I do remember Sid saying spending more time with them. I don't really remember if we directly said, one of us should be pinpointing someone.
Now, was Sid at this meeting when you initially discussed this, or was it just a housemates?
I think Sid was in for for a few of our conversations.
Objection, lack of personal knowledge to the specific event.
Yeah, sustained. Sure.
Strike.
Granted. Go ahead.
So, I'm focusing on the conversation that was you and your Mark and Mr. Ortega. Were there other conversations that you guys had talking about your concern about Carlos's potentially having a mental illness?
Yes. Yes.
Did you, at any point after that first conversation, did you ever personally try to reach out to Mr. Reales Dominguez and discuss your concern that he may have schizophrenia?
Yes.
When was that?
The first time in the Jack in the Box parking lot.
But that was back in sophomore fall.
Yes.
Let's fast forward and you gave him advice at that point. I want to focus on, now we're in the winter of 2023.
Okay.
After you've had the meeting where you've discussed your concern that he may have schizophrenia. After that, did you ever reach out to Mr. Reales Dominguez?
Yes.
Okay, what did you do?
I told him that Davis does offer free medical examinations basically at the student center. So I told him you should check it out also. So.
How did he respond?
He didn't. There was no reply for it at that point.
And was that the last conversation you had with him about that?
Pretty much about it.
Sir, at some point, do you know a woman by the name of Kaylee Gallardo?
Yes.
How do you know Miss Gallardo?
She was Carlos's boyfriend. Carlos's girlfriend. And I met with her sometimes. So.
At some point, sir, around February 6th of 2023, did Miss Gallardo reach out to you regarding Carlos?
I think so.
What do you recall happening?
She sent me a text. I don't remember what exactly it said, but I think it said something along a line about checking in with Carlos, basically. Like, can you see him? Something.
Did she tell you why she was reaching out to you?
No, but
What did you do in response to receiving Ms. Gallardo's text?
I went to check up on Carlos.
What do you remember doing?
I think he was in his room. He was just crying, not having a good time. So I went to talk with him, just try to see what was going on with him. So
Wait, you said he was crying when you walked into his room?
yeah, at least when I remember, what's it called? Carlos was in his room with Kaylee, and he was just crying.
I'm not asking about, that may be a separate incident. I'm asking about when Kaylee Gallardo sent you the text message asking you to check on Carlos. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay. Do you remember Kaylee ever reaching out to you and telling you that Carlos's brother and sister had texted her that they could not get a hold of him and she wanted you to check on him? Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. You now recall that incident?
Yes.
Right. Did Kaylee contact you by phone or text?
Through text.
When you got that message, what did you do?
I went to check up on Carlos.
Okay. And I don't want you to guess, but do you remember what you observed on that incident when you went to check on him?
I just knocked on his door just to see he was in his room. After that, he let me know that he was there, but there was no response. So
How did he let you know that he was there?
he just slid his door open and just talked. He was like, "Hey, your siblings are asking me to check up on you," and stuff like that. So
And what did he respond at all?
no,
No words?
no words.
And what did he do then?
He was like, kind of gave it. If I remember, he gave a shrug and just closed the door.
So I'd like to show you, I'm not going to publish this, but what's been marked defense exhibits R and S. There's a phone number beginning, listed on the bottom of these text messages. You get the 970 area code. Take a look at that phone number and let me know if you don't say the phone number, but do you recognize that phone number?
Yes, sir.
And whose phone number is that?
It is mine.
And was that your phone number in February of 2023?
Yes, sir.
Is it still your phone number today?
Yes, sir.
I have nothing further. Thank you, Mr. Hahn.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hutchinson. Mr. DeMora, cross-exam?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Hahn.
Morning.
Now, Mr. Hahn, when focusing on your time that you and Mr. Reales Dominguez lived together at Hawthorne, so when he moves in summer of 2022 to when he was arrested on May 3rd of 2023. So we're going to focus on this time frame. Now, when he had moved in, you had already known him for roughly about 2 years at that point, correct?
Yes, sir.
And during those 2 years, prior to him moving into Hawthorne, he had only mentioned or asked about hearing voices on that one occasion that you can recall, correct?
Yes.
And that was at the Jack in the Box in Davis.
Yes.
And when he asked you about hearing voices, and you responded to him, that sort of ended the conversation, correct?
Yes.
And at no point when he asked you this question did he attack you or physically or verbally, right?
No.
And so moving forward to the summer of 2022, when he moves into Hawthorne with you, he was still enrolled at UC Davis at that time, correct?
I believe so.
And you knew him to be enrolled, or you believed him to be enrolled at UC Davis because he would come and go during the daytime like any other, or like the other roommates when they would go to class.
Actually, foundation.
Yeah, lay a foundation system.
Did you see Mr. Reales Dominguez leave during the daytime and appear to go in the direction of UC Davis campus?
I saw him leave the house, but I did not see him leave in the direction towards Davis. So.
Did you ever see him with like textbooks and things like that in his room?
Yes.
And textbooks, based on your personal experience with UC Davis, means you're a student, right?
At least like having Davis textbooks, or like, I mean, yes, I would assume so.
I mean, let me ask you this, Mr. Hahn. You don't go out and buy just school textbooks just for fun, right?
No.
No. You don't know most people to go out and be like, hey, let me go get like an OChem book or something like that for fun, right?
No.
So, based on what you saw, reasonable to believe that Mr. Reales Dominguez was still enrolled at UC Davis at that point.
Yes.
And so, you guys were, you consider yourself friends up till the 2022-2023 school year, correct?
Yes.
And you would describe that as you, Mr. Reales Dominguez, were good, correct?
Yes.
And good meaning you're friends, you get along, right?
Yes.
Now, about 5 months or so before he was arrested, you would say that you were no longer good with Mr. Reales Dominguez, correct?
Yes.
And you were no longer good with him, meaning you were no longer friends, right?
Just more like we just couldn't communicate. Carlos just stopped talking at that point, so it was just hard to kind of have any connection at that point. So.
Okay, and he had stopped talking because there was an incident between the two of you, right?
Yes.
Speculation as to the reason he stopped talking.
No, he can give his opinion. Okay. Overall.
All right, and this incident that took place, it was around winter break 2022?
I believe so.
And during that incident, you and Mr. Reales Dominguez, you guys had been joking around a little bit, right?
Like during the winter break?
During the specific incident where you guys were no longer good.
I don't remember if we were joking at that day, or I don't. Yeah.
Well, let me ask a follow-up question. You and Mr. Reales Dominguez got into a physical fight at one point, right?
Yes.
And you remember that fight?
Yes.
And that fight started out with the two of you kind of joking, correct?
Yes.
And at some point, while you two were joking, it became physical, correct?
It didn't initially start between me and Carlos. It started off with someone else.
Who did it start off with?
If I remember properly, I think Mark and Sid were there, but I was out in the kitchen grabbing something to drink.
Okay, but eventually you were there with Mr. Reales Dominguez.
Yes.
And at some point, the two of you started shoving each other, correct?
Yeah.
Who shoved who first?
I don't remember.
When you approached, or when you ended up, were you in a room or were you in a common area of the house?
It was the common area.
When you ended up in that, and this is at Hawthorne, correct?
Yes.
When you ended up in that common area with Mr. Reales Dominguez, did you arrive there upset with him?
No.
You didn't arrive there ready to shove him or push him, correct?
No.
Right. So, based on your recollection, did you approach Mr. Reales Dominguez calmly?
Yes.
When you approached Mr. Reales Dominguez, was he already irritated or agitated?
When I came up to Carlos at that point, Carlos was already in a scuffle with, I think, Mark and Sid at that point, and so I was just trying to break it up, and so, but then things just evolved, and eventually our scuffle happened. So.
Okay, so you get there's a scuffle, and when you say a scuffle, you mean that there's some physical contact, hands are on each other, right?
Yes.
And you said it was Mark and
Sid.
Sid were there. Did it appear to you that they were trying to restrain Mr. Reales Dominguez?
Yes.
And so when I say restrain, Was Mr. Reales Dominguez, did he appear angry or upset?
Yes.
Was he saying anything that you could hear directed at Sid and Mark?
Not that I recall.
Was this at a party or was this just amongst roommates?
Just amongst roommates.
And so you get there and you go to assist Mark and Sid, correct?
Just trying to break up the fight.
Right. So, but you're trying to make sure that everyone's separated.
Yes.
And so at some point when you're trying to separate everyone in this, Mr. Reales Dominguez starts shoving you, correct?
Yes.
And you weren't there to shove him or push him or anything like that, right?
No.
And so at some point, as you're trying to break this up and Mr. Reales Dominguez, you're trying to separate Mr. Reales Dominguez and everyone, he starts swinging and throwing punches, right?
Yes.
And did any of those punches, were they thrown in your direction?
I think they're just kind of wild.
It's kind of like, wailing, like just throwing.
Yeah, just
right?
kind of like haymakers, just anywhere, any
When you
direction.
say haymakers, we're talking about a specific punch where your fists are closed and you're going like over the top of your head.
I don't remember like any of the strikes, but like I remember it was just kind of just wild. So
But specifically, you know what a haymaker punch is?
yes,
Right. And so describe what a haymaker is.
it's just a long winding side punch. So
Okay? And you're, with your right hand, you were taking your arm back and coming forward with a closed fist.
I mean, you don't have to take it back, but it's just a wide motion. So.
Okay, wide motion off to the side of your body. And just repeat that to yes.
As like the definition of a haymaker, or like
Oh, no, you just said and I was just asking.
oh
what
yeah, just for me.
All right, so at some point, everyone goes to their corners and is separated, right?
Yes,
And so during this incident, or after this incident, that's when Mr. Reales Dominguez and you stopped really communicating in a way that you had prior, correct?
yes,
And so the way you perceive that and his change in demeanor afterwards, you perceive that as meaning that right then and there, after this incident, he no longer wanted to have the same relationship with you.
could you repeat that? Sorry, my
Definitely.
phone was going off.
And so, from what you perceived after this incident, after this fight, when Mr. Reales Dominguez's behavior changed towards you, you believe that to mean that he had decided that he no longer wanted to be the same type of friends you were before.
Objection, speculation.
Not initially.
But eventually that's what you determined?
Eventually just kind of became that way.
Because prior to that scuffle or fight, the two of you were good, right?
Yes, sir.
And as soon as that happens, afterwards, the relationship changes between the two of you, correct?
Yes.
And he never told you why,
Like why the relationship changed, or
correct?
yes,
And he never told you why that scuffle and that fight happened, right?
yes,
And you didn't know what he was thinking at the time when you were trying to intervene, right?
yes.
So, but afterwards, after this scuffle, is that when you observed the toilet having been broken?
Like, did I personally observe the toilet break at that moment, or?
Let me phrase it this way. Scuffle happens around winter break in 2022. Do you see the toilet after that? The broken toilet after that?
Yes.
Okay, so that comes second. That comes second?
Afterwards?
Yes.
Yes.
So, about the toilet incident, how much time had passed between the fight where Mr. Reales Dominguez is separated and you believe he breaks the toilet?
I don't know the exact time, but it was within the same evening.
He broke the toilet the same day as the fight?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go through this for a second. Fight happens around what time?
I think around maybe 6 or 7. It was dark. So
PM?
yes.
So, Mr. Reales Dominguez goes in his room at some point after the fight.
No. After their fight, but he went to the bathroom first.
He
And
goes to the bathroom first. You guys go, you guys meaning you, Sid, and Mark or Christian, sorry.
Mark.
Mark, go into a different room. Is that correct?
Yeah. We just stayed in the common area.
Okay, stay in the common area. When Mr. Reales Dominguez goes into the bathroom, is that when you hear the smashing of the toilet as you described?
Yes.
All right, so it's like one right after the other.
Yes.
And so, after he smashes the toilet, and you knew it was him because he was the only other person in the house, correct?
Oh no. Me, Mark, and Sid were still at the house, inside the house.
Right, other than you, Mark, and Sid were together, correct?
Yes.
So, other than the three of you together, Mr. Reales Dominguez was the only one in the house.
Yes.
And so, because you saw him go into the bathroom, and you heard the ceramic and the metal and things like that, you believed that it was him who was smashing it.
Yes.
And after he smashed it, he went into his room.
Yes.
Now, at the time that this happened, you knew Carlos was having a couple of financial difficulties, correct?
Protection Foundation.
Could you repeat that?
Was he struggling with finances around this time?
Yes.
And as part of these meetings that you were having with your roommates, where, as the defense brought up, you were discussing things like mental health and things like that, did you also discuss rent?
Me personally, no, but I think Christian did bring it up as well. So
To your knowledge, was Mr. Reales Dominguez falling behind on rent?
Protection Foundation.
Sustain that.
But at the time, at least, you knew that he was struggling with finances.
yes.
And you had known at this point that he had broken up with his girlfriend, Kaylee Garrido, correct?
Which point?
In winter break of 2022, going into 2023.
I don't know if I don't remember if I know if they were broken up or not at that moment.
But she wasn't coming around the house.
No.
Now, where was, I'm going to show you actually people's 69. May I approach?
Okay.
I'm going to show you people's 69. And Mr. Hahn, do you recognize that as a sketch of 762 Hawthorne?
Yes.
And is that, from what you remember about 762 Hawthorne, a fair and accurate depiction of that residence as it existed when you lived there back in 2022 and 2023?
Yes.
All right, and looking at the second page, sorry I forgot to tell you there was a second page on there. Does that look like the upstairs area of Hawthorne?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Okay.
All right, Mr. Hahn, I think there's a laser pointer There, yep. Right, if you could, with that laser pointer, can you point to where your room was at 762 Hawthorne?
My room was bedroom 1.
Okay, and so it says bedroom 1, and then underneath that says room B. Where was Mr. Reales Dominguez's bedroom?
Bedroom 2.
Okay, and then where was the bathroom that the two of you shared?
Right in between.
Now, who was in bedroom 3?
Mark was in bedroom 3.
And Mark used that same bathroom, bathroom 1?
Yes.
When we step back to the fight where Mr. Reales Dominguez had to be separated, where did that take place?
It was in the living room, right around this area.
Okay, so living room, room A. And then afterwards, you, Mark, and Sid stayed in there.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, going into winter quarter 2023, and Mr. Reales Dominguez stayed in the house with you and the other roommates, correct?
Yes.
And during this time, there wasn't a whole lot of communication between you, the other roommates, and Mr. Reales Dominguez, correct?
Yes.
But at times, you were able to observe him moving around the house.
Yes.
And so, you said he spent most of his time in his room, correct?
Yes.
But he would come out into the common areas like the kitchen and the living room, correct?
Primarily the kitchen.
Primarily the kitchen to make food,
Yes.
right? You saw him make food?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Sorry.
Sorry, it's okay. Everyone's doing it. So, and then would he eat in his room?
Yes. Yeah. What do you know?
So, around February of 2023, you get this text message from Guillory, and you have to go, or you don't have to go, but you go and knock on Mr. Reales Dominguez's door, correct?
Yes.
And he, in fact, opens the door for you, and you tell him that his siblings are worried about him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And so his response is, he kind of shrugs his shoulders at you, right?
Yes.
And does he say anything?
No.
But that shrugging of his shoulders, you would take that as an acknowledgement of, like, he heard what you were saying.
Yes.
And a shrugging of the shoulders, you know that to be disregard, kind of like you brush off what someone's saying, right?
Yes.
And then he closes his door, and that's the end of that conversation, correct?
Yes.
And so during this time, winter quarter of 2023, given where your room is in relation to Mr. Reales Dominguez, you were able to hear at times when he appeared to be coming and going from the Hawthorne residence, right?
Yes.
And moving from winter quarter 2023 into spring quarter 2023 as well, there were times where you would hear him either leaving the residence or coming to the residence late at night, right?
Yes.
And when I say late at night, I'm talking about when it's dark outside, correct?
Yes.
And sometimes was that after 9 p.m.
Yes.
Sometimes was it after 11 p.m.
Yes.
Sometimes could you either hear him coming or going even in the a.m. hours of the next day, the morning?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Hahn, did you know Mr. Reales Dominguez to carry a knife?
No.
Did you ever see him carry a knife?
No.
Right. Outside of the kitchen, where there were probably utensils, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever see a knife on his person?
No.
Did you know if he ever bought one?
No.
Did you ever engage in social activities where you observe Mr. Reales Dominguez throwing knives?
No.
Did you ever engage or see activities where Mr. Reales Dominguez would carve with a knife?
Like carve?
Like carving a wood?
Oh, no.
And so, during your observations, your time with Mr. Reales Dominguez, you didn't know him to carry or use knives or edged weapons, right?
No.
During these times where he had asked you questions about whether you saw things or heard things, you never saw him lash out violently towards you or to things that weren't there, correct?
No.
And in this moment where you had talked about earlier on direct examination, where you and the roommates and Mr. Reales Dominguez are in this room, and he says, "Hey, did you hear that?" Remember that?
Yes.
He didn't go and pull out a knife and like start swinging at something that you guys didn't see, correct?
No.
And he didn't get violent towards anything at that point, right?
No.
And so that was at the time where he was still communicating with you as roommates, right?
It was partially at half. It seemed like kind of like halfway. Like sometimes would be before we stopped communicating, and sometimes would be after we stopped communicating.
Okay, let me stop you there. So that's all the time we have. You have some questions, right, some follow-up. So, Mr. Hahn, we're almost done, but we're going to take our midday break, and we're going to resume at 1:30.
At 1:30?
It won't take much longer, but we do have a few more questions for you.
Yes, sir.
So thanks for your patience, and I'll see you at 1:30.
1:30, sir.
Okay, to the jury, enjoy your lunchtime break. Do not discuss the substance of the case. Do not form any opinions, and do not research, and we'll see you back this afternoon. Thank you. Trial. Everyone is here that needs to be here in the afternoon session of Wednesday, May 21st, and I wanted to give the jury some update on scheduling. So make a note of the following, and that is that stating the obvious, Monday, May 26th is a holiday. It's Memorial Day, so yes, the court is closed on Monday. So we expect a full week next week, Tuesday through Friday, okay? And we have witnesses all lined up that week, Tuesday through Friday next week. So then, looking at June, please note that the afternoon of June 4th, we will not be in session. The afternoon of June 4th, I'll remind you again, but take notes now. Secondly, the morning of June 12th, we will be dark as well. So no session the afternoon of June 4th, no session the morning of June 12th. And then it's also stating, somewhat less obvious because it's a newer holiday, but June 19th is a court holiday. June 19th is a court holiday. The other thing I will tell you is that I advise you that there are two phases to the trial. I'm not going to repeat that instruction at this time, but I will tell you that at some point we're going to hand this case to you on the first phase, and when the court hands it to you, then you set your own schedule for deliberations. You have to be diligent and reasonable and so forth. But if it occurs during deliberations and all of you need a little bit a day here or whatever, 12 jurors will decide that. So nothing to worry about now, but I'm just explaining that you will take control of this for a short period of time, or at least the period of time for deliberations. So anyway, quick update, I promised that to you, and let's get back to work. We have Philip Hahn. Is Mr. Hahn in the courtroom? Can we grab him? Great, and then Mr. Hahn is currently on cross-examination with Mr. Tomorrow, so do you have a few more questions for him? Thank you. Yes. Okay, Mr. Hahn, go ahead and walk to the witness stand. And then Debbie, can you help me? I think there's an exhibit on the witness stand. We can grab that and return it to the clerk. Great. Thank you, Mr. Hahn, for returning. And like I said, we just have a few more questions. Mr. Tomorrow, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Hahn. Mr. Hahn, when we left off, we were talking about the hours that Mr. Dominguez, or that you observed him coming and going from the Hawthorne residence. And so we were talking about how he would come and go late at night and sometimes early in the morning. You remember that?
Yes.
And so, other than when he would come and go, that was just you hearing him leave his room and the front door of the house closed.
Yes.
And so you never saw where he'd go, correct?
No.
You didn't know what he'd bring with him.
No.
You didn't know what he was actually out doing during those times.
No.
Just a moment, folks. That's happened to all of us. Yeah, we just had yeah. Do you need some water?
No.
Okay. It's the opposite. Go ahead, try that.
Wrong pipe.
Yeah, wrong pipe. Awesome. We're clear now. Thank you, Mr. Barr. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I didn't realize that's such a good question. I get the jury choked up on it. I think I'll switch topics for a second. But with the hours that he was coming and going, that had been, from what you could hear at night, he'd been doing that for probably, several weeks?
I wasn't paying attention to his leavings, or at least how long it was.
You only started reflecting on this and remembering when Mr. Reales Dominguez was arrested.
Yes.
And once he was arrested, you went back and said, wait a minute, he was leaving at these times of night, which were kind of odd hours, correct?
Yes.
When I say odd hours, just meaning they were late, right?
Yes.
Later than you would go out or someone else would go out.
Yeah.
I should say just later than you would go out.
Yes. Yes.
Not about those specific times he would leave, but in general, if you saw him leave a Hawthorne residence, sometimes he would ride a bike, correct?
I never saw him.
Hold on just a moment. Sustained brief. Sharpen the question.
Okay. Did you know Mr. Reales Dominguez to have a bike?
Yes.
Was that a black and white mountain bike?
I think there was red paint on it, but I don't really remember the color on it of it.
You don't remember the color, but you remember it was a mountain bike.
Yes.
And you didn't have a mountain bike, correct?
No.
And Mark didn't have a mountain bike, correct?
No.
And when Sid was there, he didn't have one either.
I don't believe he had a mountain bike either.
Now, I want to show you People's Exhibit 85. Come in first, John.
Okay.
Mr. Hahn, I'm going to show you two photographs. First photograph ending in 53. Do you see that?
Yes.
You recognize that?
Yes.
Is that the toilet in the shared bathroom at 762 Hawthorne?
Yes.
And I'm going to move over one photograph. Just kidding. I was trying to move over. And photograph ending in 55 is that also a photograph you recognize from 762 Hawthorne?
Yes.
And that's the same bathroom?
Yes.
All right, so moving back to 53, looking at both those photographs, are those fair and accurate pictures of the bathroom that existed in May of 2023?
To my recollection, yes.
Okay. Mention the public show?
Okay.
And showing you photograph 53 on People's 85. Now, scrolling down as we're looking at this photograph to the left-hand side, you can zoom in there. Off to the left, is that the top of the toilet that you were talking about earlier?
At the very bottom, it does look like the lid on the bottom.
And was that the part that after you heard ceramic and metal and you went into the bathroom, is this the portion of the toilet you saw that was broken?
Yes.
So looking up at the top, just on the left-hand side of the toilet seat, do you see a little edge that's pointing out from the left side of the toilet seat?
Yes.
And what's that?
That's part of the, looks like part of the toilet tank, I think.
Now, when you looked at the toilet, when you inspected it, you could see that the lid was missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And you could see the metal in the wall right there, just off to the right, or excuse me, off to the left of the toilet seat, correct?
Just the black part.
Yes.
Could you repeat your question on that part?
Yeah, when you went to inspect the toilet after you heard this noise, you could see that sort of what looks like a metal part in the wall, correct?
Yes.
And this was before you replaced the toilet, correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Hahn, when you would see Mr. Reales Dominguez leave the house, was he ever wearing like a facial mask, like a COVID mask or anything like that?
I never noticed Carlos leaving the house.
Would you ever see him outside the house?
I saw him once when he was returning.
And when was that?
I think it was either the Monday or maybe 1 or 2 days prior to us calling the cops.
And when you saw him, he wasn't wearing a mask at that point?
No.
When you say 1 to 2 days prior to calling the cops, you and your roommates eventually on May 3rd of 2023 called in an anonymous tip regarding Mr. Dominguez, correct?
Yes.
At that point, you had suspected that he had been involved in the series of stabbings in Davis, right?
Yes.
Now, before we get there,
Sustained.
I want to ask you about this time leading up to Mr. Reales Dominguez's arrest. Were you present in Davis between April 26, 2023 and May 3rd of 2023?
Sustained.
Now, when you saw Mr. Reales Dominguez those 2 days prior to calling the police, you said that was him coming back to the residence.
Yes.
And was that earlier in the day or was that later at night?
It would be in the AM.
How early in the AM?
In between, I think 2 and 3.
And was that May 1st of 2023?
I don't remember the exact date, but it was around that timeline.
How did you notice him coming back to the house?
Sustained.
In People's 85, in that photograph ending in 5-5, did you see those towels in the bathroom?
Yes.
Whose towels were those? Objection outside scope.
I don't think that, hold on just a second.
Withdraw it.
Yeah, I think that the toilet bar was a part of the toilet broken, so it's within scope. So the objection's overruled.
And did you see those towels?
Yes.
Do you know whose towels those were?
I don't remember whose towels or whose.
When you inspected, when's the last time you went into the bathroom prior to May 3rd of 2023?
I don't have an exact date of when we checked it, the bathroom out, but we did look after the commotion when we checked it, but I don't think we really went back to the bathroom. So
Did you see anything in the bathroom that stood out to you other than the broken toilet?
no.
Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moore. That was cross. Mr. Hutchinson, any redirect?
Yes. Mr. Hahn, I'm going to ask you some additional questions, and I don't want you to guess. Okay, so if you don't have a specific memory, please do not guess. Okay?
Got it.
And if you're not certain, you can specify that. During the fall quarter of 2022, so this is right after Mr. Reales Dominguez moved in, did your fraternity have any parties at the Hawthorne Lane residence?
Yes.
How many parties do you recall your fraternity having at the Hawthorne Lane residence during the fall of 2022?
I don't know the exact number.
Was it more than one?
Yes.
Do you think it was more than two?
Yes.
More than three?
I think less than 5, but I don't, yeah.
At these parties, was alcohol served?
Yes.
At these parties, was alcohol consumed?
Yes.
Did you consume alcohol at these parties?
Yes.
You describe an incident where Mr. Reales Dominguez pushed you.
Yes.
Was there only one incident where Mr. Reales Dominguez pushed you?
I don't remember if it was only a single incident.
By incident, I mean day. Was there only one day that you got pushed?
Oh, yes.
There were not other days when he pushed you?
No.
Did that day, when he pushed you, did that occur during one of the parties in the fall of 2022?
Did it happen at the party or? No, not at the party.
So your memory is it did not happen at a party?
No.
Of all the parties that happened, were you drunk at all the parties?
Yes.
And where do you remember the pushing incident happening? In the living room?
Yes.
Do you have any memory of a pushing incident in Mark's bedroom?
No.
Do you have any memory of a pushing incident where there's a crowd of people other than just you and your roommates?
No.
Who do you remember being present in the common room when you said Mr. Reales Dominguez pushed you?
Mark and I know Mark at least for sure, but I'm hesitant if Sid was there.
Who do you remember? Just think in the room, you know Mark is there. Who else do you have a memory of being there?
I think it's just Mark for now that I can remember.
And is it your memory that you came in after the pushing had already started?
Yes.
So you don't remember seeing how the pushing started?
No.
Now, you testified earlier that you believe the toilet was broken on the same day as the pushing?
Yes.
So when approximately approximately do you believe this occurred, this toilet being broken and the pushing on the same day?
The toilet, what I remember would be maybe about an hour.
And when month, that's what I'm asking about. So you said, it's your memory today that the pushing and the toilet happened on the same day. When did that happen in terms of month?
I don't remember which month.
Was it prior to Christmas break in 2022 or after Christmas break in 2022?
I don't remember.
But you do have a memory of installing the toilet?
Yes.
Any doubt in your mind about that?
No.
Of the roommates, were you the only one with the expertise to install a toilet?
I believe Christian knows how to change a toilet as well. I just volunteered for it.
Looking at those photos, that was, appears that the toilet had not been used for some time.
Yes.
So when the toilet was broken, you didn't use it until it was repaired?
Yes.
And there's another half bathroom in the garage?
Yes.
So you use that?
Yes.
So how long after the toilet was broken did you repair it?
Let's see. I don't really remember when, just because of the initial date, if it was prior or afterwards, but I do remember I did swap out the toilet about a month before moving out, so it might have been in maybe around July, around that time.
But by July, Mr. Reales Dominguez is in custody.
Yes.
My question is, when was the toilet broken? This incident where you hear a sound and see Mr. Reales Dominguez, when did that occur?
Be the same day where the shoving match happened.
But I'm trying to narrow it down.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember which month, honestly.
Well, let me just sort this. You received contact from Kaylee Gallardo in February of 2023, concern from the defendant's siblings. Okay? Was it before or after that?
I believe it was after.
Okay, so the toilet is sometime after you get the contact from Kaylee.
Yes, I believe so.
So you believe the pushing then, if it happened on the same day, the pushing would have happened sometime after February?
Yes, or at least what I remember of it is that the pushing and the toilet being broken happened on the same day, at least.
But after Mr. Reales Dominguez returned from winter quarter, he wasn't talking to you at all, correct?
No.
He wasn't communicating with any roommate?
No.
And you testified that you thought the pushing incident may have caused him to stop talking to you?
Yes.
So presumably the pushing incident happened before winter break, correct?
Yes.
All right. So if the pushing incident happened before winter break, that would have been sometime December 2022 or earlier, correct?
Yes.
So looking at that photo, assume that was taken on May 3rd, okay? If the photo was taken on May 3rd and the toilet was still broken, and if your testimony that the pushing incident happened on the same day as the toilet being broken, that would mean you left that toilet unrepaired for at least half of December, all of January, all of February, all of March, and all of April.
Overruled.
Do you understand my question?
Yes.
Did you wait 6 months to repair that toilet, sir?
Yes.
That's your testimony.
Yes.
Did Mark and Christian go out and purchase that toilet in December? Do you recall that?
Yes.
And then you waited until July to fix it?
Objection, asked and answered.
At least I remember at least with the start of after when the toilet was broken, we just didn't have a lot of finances, so we just couldn't really afford to replace it. Actually, no, we actually did. They bought the toilet, but I don't know why we kind of just held off on the toilet.
So they did buy the toilet pretty quickly after it, correct?
Yes.
And Mark paid for it, partially, didn't he?
I believe so.
All right. And he had to, that was the bathroom he used, correct?
Yes.
So my question is, if Mark bought it, why did you wait so many months to install the toilet?
I think we were just mostly just kind of scared, just trying to see with the toilet also, because we also knows we're just kind of lazy about swapping out the toilet.
There's been speculation as what others thought.
Yeah, just your opinion.
Well, move to strike.
Granted, we'll clean up.
Sir, I can share your fear of trying to do it-yourself plumbing. I share that. But you had experience doing this before, right?
Yes.
You knew how to install a toilet.
Yes.
And once you know how to do it, then it's not that hard of a job.
Yes.
Okay. Once you finally did it, how long did it take you to install that toilet?
About a couple hours.
Okay. So it's your testimony that that toilet was broken sometime before Christmas break, and then you waited more than 6 months to fix it.
Objection, ask an answer.
Do I?
Answer again.
Oh, yeah, I believe so, yes.
Sir, is it possible that the pushing incident and the toilet incident are separate incidents and you have combined them in your mind?
It might be so. Just my memory is pretty hazy of the last 2 years, so.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any follow-up?
No.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hahn, thank you for your testimony today. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your Honor, people would like to have a subject for
Your Honor, I apologize. I have one other area. I apologize.
I think we're done. I mean, you had direct, and
He said something I need to ask about.
was it said, I'll allow it only if you're responding to Mr. DeMora's question?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, Mr. Hahn, then I'll allow this briefly. And then you'll be subject to recall for anything that's outside of the scope of what we've done here. All right.
Mr. Hahn, remember I told you about not guessing?
Yes.
Do you recall the black and white bike that was seized by Davis law enforcement? The black and white mountain bike?
I don't remember. I mean, I've never seen the mountain bike get seized, so.
You said you never saw Carlos ride a bike?
I have seen Carlos ride the bike.
Was there a black and white mountain bike in the backyard?
I don't know if it was black and white, but there was a mountain bike in the backyard, though.
Do you know, and don't guess, who brought that bike to the house?
I don't know who
Okay,
brought
so
it.
when you said it was Carlos's bike, was that a guess?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Okay, Mr. Moore on that?
Did any of you or the other roommates, with the exception of Mr. Reales Dominguez, ride a mountain bike?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Okay. All right, now we're done, Mr. Hahn.
Thank you,
Get out
sir.
of here quick before. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Your Honor, he could appear on June 2nd at 9:30.
I'm going to talk to you about that.
Okay,
It's subject to
thank you.
recall, but I need an offer of proof as to what we're doing and why he wasn't called earlier. Okay, thank you. Mr. Hutchinson, what else do we have?
The defense calls Hannah Cheney.
Okay, let's get Hannah Cheney. Okay, Ms. Cheney, come on in, if you can stand here at the podium. I'm gonna have the clerk administer an oath. After you take the oath, then I'm gonna have you sit in the witness stand. We have two lawyers to ask questions.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear to speak out to give in the cause not before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you.
Please be seated. Put your first and last name for the record. Let's call them both.
Hannah Cheney, Hannah, and then Cheney.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and pull in the chair. Thank you. If you could pull the mic up maybe a little bit, just
Okay.
a little bit. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, Mr. Hutchinson, direct exam.
Good afternoon, Ms. Cheney.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, what do you do for a living?
I'm an environmental scientist with the state of California.
And I'd like to direct your attention to late April of 2023. At that point, were you a scientist for the state of California?
No, I was working for FEMA at that point.
And where did you, not specific street address, but what general area did you live?
I was living at in West Davis, near Arlington Street.
Where is Arlington Street?
It's on the western side of Davis, near the West Davis Market area.
Where is it in relation to 113? Is it on the west side or east side of 113?
I think it's on the west side.
And did you ride a bicycle during this period?
Yes, I did.
How frequently would you ride a bicycle?
Probably like once or twice a week. At that point, I was commuting to Sacramento using a car, but I would use a bike locally.
I'd like to direct your attention to April 29th of 2023. Do you recall that day?
Yes.
Do you recall at some point becoming aware that there was a stabbing at Sycamore Park on that date?
Yes.
Are you familiar with Sycamore Park?
Yes.
How are you familiar with Sycamore Park?
I would use that park. I used to live near that park, and I would bike through it somewhat frequently when I lived there.
And were you living near that park in April of 2023?
Yeah, I was in 2 to 3 miles, I'd say.
And when you would ride your bike to your home, would you cross a bike bridge or a pedestrian bridge?
Yes.
What pedestrian bridge would you cross?
I don't know the name of it, but
Just describe its location.
yeah, so once you come off Sycamore Street and then head, I think the direction's west, it was the bridge on the other side of the park that went over the 113.
So was this bridge connected to Sycamore Park?
Yes, yeah.
Let's go back prior to 9 o'clock, approximately 9:15 on April 29th. What were you doing that day?
I was actually at my old place of residence, so that was off of Sycamore Park, and I was at a birthday party for most of that day at my old residence.
And had you ridden a bike?
I did ride a bike there.
At some point, did you leave that residence on your bike?
I did, yes.
And where were you heading?
I was heading back to my residence on the other side of the 113.
And would that take you through Sycamore Park?
Yes.
At approximately around 9:15 on that evening, did you ride your bike through Sycamore Park?
I think approximately around that time. I don't remember the exact time.
I'm going to show you some photos. I'd like you to look through them and see if you recognize them.
Okay.
This is Defense Exhibit AA.
Okay, thank you.
If you could just, oops, ignore my email. So just hit there, and there should be 7 photos, so let me know when you're done, okay?
Okay. Okay, I'm done.
Do you recognize what those photos depict?
Yes, Sycamore Park and the pedestrian bridge going over.
Did you ride across through Sycamore Park and on that pedestrian bridge prior to April 29th?
Yeah, I had ridden that route many times.
Over how many of a long a time period had you been occasionally riding through Sycamore Park?
Probably like 20 to 30 times in the past.
And did you have occasion to ride through that park after April 29th?
No, not as often.
On some occasions, did you?
Yeah, maybe like 2 or 3 times since then.
Did you subsequently move to a different location?
No, I just wasn't using my bike as much during that time.
So, are you familiar with how the bike path was situated and how the pedestrian bridge was situated in April of 2023?
Yes.
And with the exception of a memorial that may not have been there, are these photos that I showed you an accurate depiction of how that bike path looked on April 29th of 2023?
Yes.
Now, when you were passing through on April 29th, was it dark?
Yes, it was not completely dark, but especially in the areas where there were trees overhead, it was pretty dark.
By dark, I mean, was it nighttime at 9:15?
It was twilight. I remember there was still a little bit of light in the sky.
Go ahead. Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Okay.
This is Defense Exhibit AA, Photo 1.
Let me ask you, I feel like I've seen these pictures before. No? No. We saw some pictures of the park, though.
No.
Okay, all right, thank you.
This one you may have, but the other ones.
Okay.
So, ma'am, do you recognize what this photo shows?
Yes.
And what does it depict?
It shows the area where you get off of Sycamore and enter the park through the bike path.
And is this how you entered the park on the night of April 29th?
Yeah, I used that first turning point, to enter the park that way.
And if you recall, and don't guess,
Okay.
were you coming northbound and turned in, or were you coming southbound and turned in?
Southbound.
And when you turned in, did you see anyone?
Yes.
Describe what you saw.
I saw probably about 20 to 30 feet into the park, I saw 2 figures. One of them was lying down and one of them was kneeling over that person. But they were kind of shadowy silhouettes, so I don't have any really further details than that.
Did you see a man on a cell phone?
Yes.
Okay. And the 2 figures you saw, was one of them on a cell phone?
Yes.
Do you recall what that man looked like?
No. Just that they were male and maybe that they were male and adult, basically.
And was this man seem to be focused on the man who was lying down?
Yes. Yeah.
When you saw that, what did you think?
So I thought that it was, I knew it had to be some type of an emergency. I thought it was a medical emergency. The man who was calling on the phone, I don't recall what they were saying, but their tone made it clear that they were calling emergency services, and they seemed in control of the situation, although concerned. Yeah.
So did you think there'd been some sort of accident?
Yeah, so I was under the impression that someone had maybe fainted, and that maybe their relative or friend who was with them was helping them in that situation.
The man, you say an adult, like 18-year-olds are technically adults, but
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, older than 30, 35. Like,
So, a real adult.
yeah, I guess so.
How old are you?
I am 28.
So, you thought it was medical emergency, but you thought this man appeared to be in control of
Yeah.
the situation?
Yes.
Did you bike behind this man on the path?
I don't recall kind of how they were oriented. They were to the right of the path, and I biked by them. I don't recall if they were actually on I don't think they were on the path itself. I think they were to the right. I do remember giving them a little bit of leeway, but I can't remember if that's because I was being obstructed or because I was being overly cautious.
Did the man on the phone look at you at all?
No,
Did you get a good look at the man on the ground?
no.
Do you recall if he was laying on his back or his stomach? I don't want you to guess.
I don't recall.
Was it dark?
It was very dark where they were at.
So did you stop your bicycle at all, or did you keep riding?
I kept riding. I didn't have a light on my bicycle, and my cell phone was dead. So I came to the conclusion that if I stopped, I would probably be more of a hindrance than a help.
So what did you do?
I kept biking past, and
Let me stop you for a minute.
sorry.
You did not expect to be testifying in this case, correct?
No.
If you need a moment, that's...
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
Take your time.
I'm just gonna get some water.
Yeah, get some water, take your time. Yeah, I'm gonna stand up and stretch. Feel free to join me. Off the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
You ready to go?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now, at the time you said you thought maybe someone had fainted,
Yeah.
and based on an estimate, approximately where was the man on the ground lying once you entered the bike path?
So I think it was about 20 to 30 feet into the park. I don't remember exactly at this point, but yeah, and to the right of the bike path, I do know that.
Right side?
Yeah, for a fact. Mm-hmm.
And at the time, you didn't think, you just believed it was a medical emergency?
That's what I was under the impression of. I didn't see any blood or anything that I could tell that was otherwise. But again, it was pretty shadowy.
And the man on your phone, you said he seemed to be in control.
Yeah.
From what you learned, did he appear to be relatively calm when you were on the phone?
I wouldn't say like totally calm, but definitely, yeah, just like he was concerned, but yeah, he wasn't panicked or anything. Like,
Was this a white man?
I don't know.
At any point, did you see the man actually performing chest compressions?
No.
Let me just finish the question.
Sorry.
Did you ever see the man performing chest compressions on the person on the ground?
I did not.
At that point, when you were passing the man, had you heard police sirens in the distance?
No.
Had you seen any police lights at that point?
No.
So, did you slow down at all, or did you slow down at all as you passed?
I don't recall it. Yeah, don't think I did.
And did you continue along the bike path?
I did.
Okay, and I'm showing you Defense Exhibit AA Photo 2. You recognize this?
Yes, I do.
Does this depict the general area where you saw the man?
Yeah, but on the right side of the path.
So is it an area that is kind of cut off on the right side of the photo?
Yeah.
Let's go to Defense Exhibit AA Photo 3. Does this show the area?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Are you familiar, have you gone to Sycamore Park, at least on some occasions after April 29th?
A couple times, yeah.
Are you familiar of the location of the memorial bench for Karim Abou Najm?
I am, yeah.
Is that the general area where you saw the two men?
Yeah, that's the general area. Maybe a little bit before that, but general area.
So looking in photo 3, if we zoom in, can you see the entrance of the overpass? Excuse me, the entrance to the bridge, the far end?
Yes.
Going to exhibit 4, AA4, what does this show?
This shows the bike path in between the beginning of Sycamore Park and then to the bike path, or the overpass bridge.
And is this the approach to the overpass bridge?
Yes.
And is this the approach you took after you passed the two men?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked, Defense Exhibit 5. What does this show?
The entrance to the overpass bridge.
And is this the entrance that you took after you passed the two men?
It is.
Now, at this point, right before you crossed the bridge, had you seen anyone else other than the two men?
No.
Did you cross the bridge?
Yes.
At some point, either while you were on the bridge or after you crossed it, did you see someone else?
Yes.
When did you see someone else?
It was around the halfway point of the bridge. I don't remember the exact location, but it was, yeah, around the halfway point of the bridge.
I'm going to show you what's been marked Defense Exhibit 6. So if you were to cross the bridge and turn north, take a right, is this what you would see?
Yes, I believe so.
If you were to cross the bridge and turn, excuse me, this is Defense Exhibit AA Photo 6. If you were to cross the bridge and turn left, heading south, is this what you would see?
Yes.
So let's go back. You're on the bridge, you said more than halfway over.
Yeah, give or take. I think just about halfway.
What do you see?
I see someone coming from around the corner. I don't remember which direction they were coming from at this point, but they were jogging. They were in their late teens, maybe early 20s.
Stop you there.
Sorry.
So you remember them coming around the corner?
Yes.
As you sit here today, you don't remember if they were coming from this, they were heading north or whether they were heading south? You don't recall that?
Yeah, I don't recall which direction they were coming from before they got on the bridge.
You said this person appeared to be late teens, early 20s?
Mm-hmm.
What, and at that point, did you realize that this person, at that point, did you think this person would, what did you think at the first moment you saw him? Let me ask you that question, this person.
Yeah, so I thought they were maybe a high schooler who was running late to something. They seemed like they were in a hurry and very focused on where they were going. They didn't acknowledge me at all. So that was my impression.
Did the person make eye contact with you?
No.
Okay. Did you look at the person?
I got a look at the person, yeah.
And you did not see the person acknowledge you.
No.
Describe what you remember about this person's hair.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot about the person's hair, honestly. That it was darker and maybe curly.
And where did it come to in terms of,
I don't recall.
did you speak to an officer, Christina Giannoni, a day after this incident?
I spoke to an officer, yes. I don't remember the name, but probably her.
Was it a female?
Yes.
Did you initially speak to the officer on the phone?
Yes.
And was that how long was that initial phone conversation?
I don't recall. Probably under like 30 minutes.
Did you tell the officer that the hair was probably about to the shoulders?
That sounds about right. I don't recall explicitly what I said.
Did this person have a short haircut like me, or was it longer?
I don't recall at this point.
Did you tell did you describe to the officer what type of clothing you saw this person wearing?
I think I probably tried to. Yeah.
Do you remember what this clothing this person was wearing today?
No.
Do you recall whether you said that this person was wearing a hoodie?
That does seem familiar, yeah.
But do you have independent memory of that at this point?
No.
Just long gone.
Okay.
Do you remember telling the officer, this is during the first phone conversation, the day after, what type of clothing other than the hoodie you recall this person wearing?
Maybe I said shorts. That seems right, but I don't remember exactly.
Did you tell the officer something significant that you remembered about those shorts?
I don't remember.
Do you recall telling the officer that you remembered seeing a color red on the shorts?
I don't recall saying that.
Do you recall telling the officer that, well, what color skin do you recall this person having?
Kind of tanner, olive color.
And ma'am, in addition to speaking to the officer on the phone, did you then go down and give a much longer statement?
I did, yes.
And did you provide information during that statement?
I did, yes.
And did you also work with a sketch artist?
I did.
Let me ask, when you first spoke to the officer on the phone, and you told them what you saw, was that made at a time when what you were describing was fresh in your memory?
Yes.
And when you gave that statement to the officer, you knew they were investigating a homicide?
Yes.
So you knew that in giving that statement that it was it was being made to record what you had witnessed the night before.
Yes.
And is what you told the officer a true statement of what you observed?
Yeah.
And did you know that the officer was recording that statement?
Yeah, I was made aware of that.
So she told you she was auto-recording it.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, as you sit here today, do you have insufficient present recollection to enable you to testify fully and accurately as to everything you saw that night?
Sorry, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, my question is, did you give more details to the officer?
Yes, yeah.
Did you tell the officer about the specific type of clothing, if you remember?
I don't recall if I did.
Did you tell the officer about having, you just remember seeing red in the shorts? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
And if I were to show you a transcript, do you think that would refresh your memory, or do you still think you would not have a memory of what you told the officer?
Maybe that would refresh my memory.
And have you, before you testified today, have you reviewed any police reports summarizing your statement?
No,
Have you read the transcripts of either of your statements?
no,
Have you watched the videos or audio recordings of any of your statements?
no.
And ma'am, before you testified, did I explain to you about that you may be given a document to refresh your memory?
Yes,
Okay. Did I explain to you that if you don't remember it, if it doesn't refresh your memory, don't just say something because it's in a transcript? Do you understand that?
yeah, you did tell me that.
I'm going to have you read this. Don't read out loud.
Okay,
And let us know if it refreshes your memory. If it doesn't, that's fine.
okay, thank you.
And your initials, HC.
Yes.
So, remember what this one, does that refresh your memory or no?
That refreshes my memory in terms of the hair. I do remember saying it was tied back. The red in the shorts, that doesn't refresh my memory. From what I recall, like,
Would you have told the officer there was red in the shorts if you didn't actually see that?
no, I
So-
wouldn't think.
When you witnessed this, were you expecting that you were going to have to describe what you saw?
No.
When did you become aware that you had potentially witnessed the suspect in the stabbing of Mr. Abou Najm? How did you become aware of that?
Yeah, it was the next morning. I was at a friend's house, and it was via like social media or some type of news report that I got on my phone, and I put two and two together at that point.
So, as you sit here today, you have some independent memory of what you saw, correct?
Yes.
But do you have insufficient present recollection to enable you to testify fully and accurately about what you saw?
Yes, I agree with that.
But when you told the officer, Officer Giannone, on the phone, and you gave the details about what you saw, was that a true statement of what you observed?
Yeah, true to my best ability. Yeah.
Do you recall what you told the officer about whether the person had facial hair or not?
I don't recall.
Do you recall what you told the officer about what ethnicity you thought the person may have been?
I do recall.
What did you tell them?
I told them maybe Hispanic, maybe Middle Eastern, or maybe like mixed African American.
And this officer you spoke with, was it a female officer?
Yes.
Do you remember her name?
I don't.
You remember what she looked like?
Somewhat vaguely. Sorry, it was a long time ago.
Did she appear to be young?
Yes.
An adult, but maybe not at the real adult stage yet?
Maybe a little older than me at that point.
Does the name Christina Giannone sound familiar?
It sounds familiar, yeah.
So, when you learn on social media that you may have witnessed well, let me back up. That's why you can't remember all the details of what you saw, but did the man pass you?
Yes.
And you said, which direction was he going?
The opposite direction as me, so I guess eastbound over the 113.
Back towards Sycamore Park?
Yes.
Did you look back to see where he went?
No.
At that point, had you heard any sirens?
No.
At that point, had you seen any police lights?
No.
And at the moment you passed him, the time that was elapsed, was that simply the time it took you to ride your bike from the moment you passed the two men until you passed this man, correct?
Yeah.
Give us a rough estimate of what you think that takes from the moment you passed the man, the two men,
Yeah.
to the moment you passed the other man. How many seconds are we talking about?
Like maybe 30 seconds to like a minute.
So, when did you become aware there had been a stabbing at Sycamore Park?
I think around noon the next day.
And what caused you to believe that you may have seen the person who was the stabber?
It was the location and yeah, just the timing of everything.
So when you realized that you may have seen the stabber, what did you do?
I called the police and put in, yeah, I think I first realized that I saw the scene and then later kind of was like, oh, I did see somebody. And yeah, during that time, I called the police and gave a statement.
And then who was the first officer to contact you?
The officer that you mentioned, most likely. Yeah.
Did you speak to more than one officer or only one?
I don't recall.
The first conversation you had with an officer, was that on the telephone?
Yes.
And when was that in relation to the stabbing?
I would say that was either that same Sunday that I found out, the day after, or maybe the day after that. I want to say it was that Sunday, though, the next day.
And after speaking to that officer on the phone, did that officer make an appointment for you to come to the police department?
Yes.
How did that come about?
I think I gave my statement and then later received a call that they wanted me to come in. I think that's how that came about, but I don't recall perfectly.
And did you go in?
I did.
And did you give a statement?
Yes.
And do you recall what specific date you went in?
I don't, but it was a weekday because I had to take off work.
Was it before you learned that Carlos Reales Dominguez had been arrested for the stabbings in Davis? Was it before or after that?
I believe it was before.
Do you recall if it was before or after the third stabbing that had happened on 2nd and L?
I think it was before that, before or either right after. I don't recall perfectly.
So how long did this second interview with the officer take, approximately?
I think that took around an hour and a half, but it kind of blurs together with the sketch artist appointment too, because they were right after each other.
We're going to separate that. So
Okay.
did the officer tell you during the second interview that she was recording it?
I think so, but I don't remember.
Was what you told the officer during that second interview true, to the best of your recollection at the time?
Yes.
And during that second interview, was your memory better about what you observed than it is today?
Yes.
You seem to emphasize that.
Yeah.
So after speaking with you for a long period of time, how did it come about that this officer asked you to work with a sketch artist?
I think they asked if I'd be willing to do that at the end of the interview in the statement that I gave at the station, and I agreed to it. That's how that came about. But yeah, it's been a while.
Did you go and work with a sketch artist?
I did.
When you saw this man passing, did you think he was going to be significant at any point later? When you passed this man on the bridge, did you think he was going to be significant?
No.
Did you make an emphasis to really try to clearly identify all of his features?
No.
Was working with a sketch artist, was that kind of difficult?
It was. It took a long time.
Why was it difficult?
Just because of how quickly I saw that person, and because, like you said, I wasn't trying to memorize every feature.
But what features you did remember, and what clothing you did remember, you told that to Officer Giannone, correct?
I did. Mm-hmm.
I have nothing further. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, counsel. That was direct. So, cross by the people? Okay, thank you, Mr. Bader.
Good afternoon.
Is it fair to say that in hindsight, knowing what happened in the park, that this is a fairly upsetting experience for you?
Yes.
And is it something that you would prefer not to think about?
Yes.
Would you say that your memory of the incident is better now or better back when you spoke to officers shortly after the incident?
Better before, like when I spoke to officers about the incident.
And so, when you spoke with the officers, if your statement to the officers is different than what you remember today, which would be accurate?
That statement I made before, most likely.
And you mentioned before that you had seen information about what happened. Was that on social media?
Yes, I think I saw something on Facebook, but I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
Cheney was been marked for identification purposes as people 77. Can you take a look at that for me, please? Have you had a chance to look at people 77?
Yes.
Does this look like the Facebook post that you saw regarding the incident?
No, I think it was in a local newspaper. I don't remember seeing that exact press release, but I think it maybe had to do with, like, more so with the victim.
So was it similar to this release?
I would say it was more of like an online like news source than like an official press release.
Sorry, I wasn't there. Just by similar, I meant did it have similar contents?
Yeah, sorry.
And so this includes kind of a description of what happened at the park, that there was a stabbing, and it gives a description of the person involved. Did the post that you see contain similar information?
I don't think I saw a description of the person who may have been involved prior.
And do you know what news source you were looking at?
No.
So, at the time that you were riding through the park, was there anything that was affecting your ability to perceive the things around you?
So I didn't have a bike light with me, and my phone was dead at the time. And and I had maybe had like a glass of wine before, but it was pretty light, and I don't think I was inebriated or anything.
Okay, so you had some alcohol that day?
Yeah, but a small amount.
And you don't think it affected your ability to perceive anything around you at all?
I don't believe so.
And do you think it affected your memory at all?
No.
You remember testifying just a moment ago that you were riding over the bridge and that you passed this individual while you were both on the bridge?
Yeah.
Do you remember telling the officers that you spoke with that it was actually after you'd fully crossed over the bridge?
Oh. Yeah, I think that was it. Sorry.
So do you remember telling the officer that you had gone over the bridge, that you had passed each other at the entrance for the bridge, and that you had not turned around to see if you actually made it onto the bridge?
Yeah, I guess I could have said that, but I do think I saw him at least make it on the bridge.
Okay, so you had multiple conversations with the officers, correct?
Yes.
And the first one was the phone conversation, correct?
Yes.
And during the phone conversation, you told the officer that you directly passed each other, but it was quick. It appeared the male was attempting to turn back onto the bridge, but you never turned around to look back and see if he did. Did you make that statement?
Yes.
And then you made a second similar statement when you spoke with the officers during your interview, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
And the second time you were interviewed, you said that the male and you passed each other by the entrance to the bridge, and you did not turn around to see if you actually made it onto the bridge, correct?
I guess that's, yeah. Sorry, I guess my memory's not the greatest now, but yeah.
All right. And you remember speaking with an investigator from the Public Defender's Office on April 14th of this year?
Yeah, well, I don't know if the public, well, I think so, yeah, if that's when people first reached out to me about being here.
Did you speak to someone about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, somewhere in that range?
Yes.
And as part of that, did they read you your statements from the police reports?
Yes.
Okay, so even though you haven't read your statements yourself, someone else read them to you? correct?
Yes.
And when your statements were read to you during that interview, you said that the statements in the police report were correct?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk with you briefly about the description of the individual that you gave to the officers. I want to start with the statement that you gave on the phone where you were talking about what this person was wearing.
Okay.
So for that, you said that the person had tannish skin, was possibly Hispanic or Middle Eastern, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Yes, sorry.
And you said that they were about 5'7" or 5'8", correct?
Yes.
And you said that they had possibly had light facial hair and had shoulder-length curly hair that appeared to be tied back, correct?
Yes.
And you said that they had a light-colored hoodie, correct?
Yes.
And that with this light-colored hoodie, that the hood was down, correct?
Yes.
And you described seeing some red in the male's shorts or shoes. Do you remember that?
I don't recall that.
Okay. Now, regarding the red, do you remember seeing anything about red?
What do you mean by that?
So there were some questions when Mr. Hutchinson was talking to you about seeing a red color. Do you today have any color or recollection of seeing a red color?
No, I don't have any recollection.
But when you talked to the officers at the station, you said that the sweatpants and the shoes had a red accent that appeared to be part of the clothing, correct?
I don't recall saying that. But yeah, it could have been something that I said then.
All right. Did you see anything about the clothing that wasn't like part of the clothing? Like so sometimes clothes have like manufacturer logos or stripes or things like that. Did you see anything on the clothing that looked like it was not a manufactured part of the clothing?
Nothing apparent. No.
Was there anything that you looked like, hey, there could be a blood stain on this person?
No, I think I would have known that.
And we talked about how you described a light-colored hoodie. Do you remember telling the officers that the person was wearing shorts during your phone interview?
I think I do recall that, yeah.
And so this male was wearing shorts?
I don't recall at this moment, but I do believe that I said that at the time.
And do you remember your interview at the police station telling the officers that it was then possibly sweatpants and then saying that it was possibly large athletic shorts?
I remember going back and forth between a few clothing because I didn't remember precisely at the time.
So, just take you back to the scene. You're riding your bicycle, you're getting over the bridge, and you make this turn onto the bike path. Once you get over the bridge, are you turning left or right onto the path?
I'm turning left.
And so, when you're riding your bike, about how fast are you riding? I'm going to ask it for miles per hour. But
Okay.
Are you riding as hard as you can go? Are you riding slow? Just give us just a rough estimate of your speed for that time.
Probably a little bit faster than normal. I'm not super familiar with like miles per hour on a bike, but maybe like 60%, because I was trying to get home before it got fully dark, so I was somewhat in a hurry. But yeah, maybe like 60% as like hard as I could ride, so maybe like, I don't know, like 10, 15 miles per hour. I'm really not familiar with like how fast you go on a bike, sorry.
Understood. So when you see this individual, because you just come off the bridge, it's not as if you were able to perceive them for a long time coming down the path. You're coming around the corner and like, wham, there they are.
Yeah. But I think, yeah, if I like, I did remember like getting a look at them though, because I think the turn coming off the bridge makes more sense because I saw them there and I was turning, so I did like view them face on, if that makes sense. But
Understood. So, and you're riding your bike, correct?
uh-huh.
And they're riding, sorry, is that yes?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
And they're riding, correct?
I would say jogging, but yes,
More than a walk.
more than a walk.
And so the closing distance between you two is pretty quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, sorry, I keep doing that.
And you were riding a bike. When you're riding a bike, you have to pay attention to where you're going.
Yes.
And so, in addition to seeing this person, you are making sure that there's no obstacles in front of you, correct?
Yes.
And you are checking for things down the path that might present some kind of risk or hazard to you.
Yes.
And you're operating the handlebars.
Yes.
And you're pedaling.
Yes.
And so your attention is divided among many different tasks all at the same time, correct?
Yes.
And so, both when you gave your statement to the police and when you testified here in court, you're giving everyone the best of your memory that you possibly can, correct?
Yeah.
Now, just a little bit ago when you were testifying, you were saying that you were trying to get home and you were trying to get there before it was fully dark.
Yes.
How dark was it when you were going through the park?
So it was darker underneath the trees for sure. But there was still a little bit of light in the sky. Like the sun had gone down, but like the sky was still kind of like a bluish, not fully like black color. I think over the bridge I could see like a little bit of like light on the horizon.
We're talking that it's dusk,
Yeah. Yes.
and so the sun is down, but we're still getting sunlight from the sun, and so you can see things around you.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Yes.
But it's not long after sunset, so that it would be fully dark, correct?
Yes.
And so, when you spoke with the police, you spoke with a sketch artist and you gave them a description of the person you'd seen, correct?
Yes.
And they drew a sketch for you, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to approach you with the mark for identification purposes, People's 86.
Okay.
Take a look at People's 86 for me, please. Do you recognize People's 86?
Yes.
And is this the sketch that you worked with the sketch artist to produce?
Yes.
And is this a fair and accurate depiction of your memory of that person as it was at the time when you worked with the sketch artist?
I believe so.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
And so, this sketch that we're looking at here is a sort of a black and white sketch, maybe a sepia tone kind of color. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is this the color that the sketch was? Was it like this, or are we missing any kind of coloration?
I think it was on like whiter paper, but you're not missing any coloration.
Understood. And so, this is how you remember the person.
At the time, yes.
And so, when we're looking at the neckline here in the sketch, as far as the shirt and the clothing of the neckline, is that how you remember the neckline?
So I do think I saw them wearing a hoodie at the time, so it would have been a little different.
Okay. Is this neckline here in the sketch something that you described to the sketch artist?
I don't recall.
And this facial hair with a mustache, is that something that you described to the sketch artist?
Yes, I believe so.
And the nose structure, is that something that you described to the sketch artist as far as having this kind of really wide nose?
I don't recall that.
Okay. And how is it that these facial features are being done? So there can be different kinds of sketches. Sometimes they'll listen to somebody and they'll draw out what the person is saying, or sometimes they'll,
Objection testifying.
Overruled, that's fine.
sometimes you'll be shown a book that's got like 1,000 noses in it, and you're just trying to pick out what the right nose is. What kind of method was used for this?
It was the second method.
And so you're shown a book that's just got tons of different noses in it, and then you're selecting the nose that goes along with what you saw, correct?
Yes.
Is that the same for the structure of the mouth?
Yes.
Is that the same for the eyes?
Yes.
Is that the same for the eyebrows?
Yes.
Is that the same for the hair?
Yes.
And so you're looking at this book and you're picking out the different features that line up with what you remember, and then you're using that to create a sketch, correct?
Yes.
Now, as far as the facial hair that we saw in the sketch, originally when you spoke with the officer on the phone, you told them that the person didn't have any facial hair, correct?
I don't recall.
Did you tell the officer the male did not appear to have any tattoos or facial hair?
I don't recall exactly, but probably yes to the tattoos at least.
Objection speculation.
This is strong, sustained, strict.
If you told the officers that, would that have been the truth?
I guess so with my memory at the time, but again, it was a lot better then than it is now.
Let me check in with you. How much more do you have?
Like maybe one or two questions?
Oh, great.
I'm at the very end.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Ms. Cheney, seeing you testifying, does this still weigh pretty heavy on you?
Yes.
And was it a fairly traumatic event for you?
Yes.
And have you been trying to tell us as best as you can what it is that you can remember?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have any additional questions.
Thank you, counsel. I appreciate it. Any follow-up? Yes. Can you get it done in a minute?
Not in 1 minute, but a few minutes.
Okay. Give it a try.
Ms. Cheney, when the prosecutor was asking you, didn't you say this, didn't you say this, didn't you say this, did you know what he was reading from?
No.
Did you know if he was reading from an actual transcript of what you said, or simply a summary of a report written by an officer?
No.
So, when he was saying, didn't you say this, didn't you say this, did you actually remember saying those things, or were you just saying yes because the prosecutor is asking you questions?
Objection, leaving.
Overruled.
I tried to be as honest as possible.
But you recall the prosecutor just kept asking you, didn't you say this, didn't you say this?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you remember saying the things that he was claiming, or did you just say yes because there's a prosecutor asking you questions?
A few times probably because the prosecutor was asking me questions.
Okay. Would you agree that the most accurate...
Can we just play the video later? Or the?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So we're done.
Okay.
Yeah, you've laid a foundation for it under, I think it's 1237 or whatever. Yeah.
Then, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, she did the best she could. She doesn't remember a lot. Yeah, thank you. We're done?
No.
Okay, so Ms. Cheney, thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Just for evidentiary purposes only, subject to be
Yeah,
called.
that's fine. Okay, have a great night. You're done. Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are going to take our afternoon break, and thank you for your patience, and we'll be in session until 4:30, I think, and so get a good stretch and some daylight, and remember the three-part admonition. Thank you, folks.